Yeah, it's true.
You got time.
You know what? Good point.
You gotta do.
That's a really good
Eastern,
point.
Dinner's done. Dinner's done if you're Eastern. It's 7:30.
That's true. Bo would know. You just ate. Dinner's over. We're done.
We're done.
All right, here we go. Okay. Do I have it? Yeah. All right. The recording is going, and we got the deal queued up and ready to hit play on, and it's ready now. Okay, here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
Oh, I wish I could talk to you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about everything.
Greetings and welcome to an episode of Core. We talk about video games from the top to the bottom, and we involve you guys a lot too. You have calls and emails and texts and all kinds of fun stuff. I'm Scott Johnson with Bo Schwartz and John Jagger. And before we get cranking here, a couple of quick things. Many of you should have already seen your Lake Run stickers, all right, if you ordered them. Because I sent out the first 2 batches anyway. There's another batch coming up. And then we're out. I think we're down to like maybe 10 left total. So hundreds of you got them. There are 10 left. If you want to be one of those 10 that get the final ones, just head on over to the store, frogpants.com/store. It's right there. But also, did you get, what the hell's that? What is that?
I pulled a clump of hair out. I should brush my hair more often. Look at that.
Gosh, look at that thing. That's a beast.
Wow.
What do you think that means? Do you think that means anything?
I think it means Chewbacca finally gave birth.
Oh my
It means I've been putting off brushing my hair, and I got a little knot. Dreads are on the way.
I love it.
Need to give them a brush.
Oh, you should do dreads, dude. I'd pay to see that with money. That'd be great.
They're hard to undo. That's the problem with dreads.
That is true. And they stink, man. Oh, they stink. They smell so good.
That too.
Never saw a dread that didn't reek. The other thing I want to say on that note is we have these shirts now. We decided to make one, and they're kind of printed to order, so we don't have to carry a ton of stock on them. But it basically is a big, nice, bright shirt with Bo jumping in like, and it says Lake Runners Unite and the name Core below it. Chat room's looking at it right now. If you're interested in rocking this t-shirt, you can get one right now on the self-same link, frogpants.com/store. Let's make this meme live forever. That's what I say. And also, stick around, chat room.
I was taking a bath.
Yeah, see? Bo will sing for you, and we'll give away a copy of Dead Space, the remake, for Steam.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
today.
about that, everyone? From a generous listener.
Yep, we'll call them a silent donor. Has given us their donated key, and we're going to use that key to give it to you. And the only way you're going to get it, though, is be here at the end of the show so we can give it away in the chat. For those at home, it just means you got to come to a live show for some of these giveaways. That's all. All right? Not to leave you high and dry, but that's the way it is. All right. That's it for that. Let's do this. We're going to talk more about Dead Space in a week that wasn't full of like big drop dead topics of news in the industry. It seemed like all anybody wanted to talk about was one of two things, either Dead Space or how shocked they were that Hi-Fi Rush was good. And I feel like that's all I heard in all my circles. And Dead Space in particular, let's talk about it. Before we get into it too far, let's talk about what we played of it. Bo, you played the entire game. You beat it.
Yep, I played through it on the weekend. Finished Sunday night.
I watched
Started Friday, finished Sunday.
I watched you a chunk of it. Not nearly as much as you ended up playing, but what was your total play? Like 20 hours? What's
20 hours-ish? 25.
Okay. Yeah, the complete, or what is it? How long to finish, or whatever it's called? The website puts it at 27. Your mileage may vary, but on the other side of it, how do you feel? You feel like they nailed this remake?
I mean, they've nailed it, but also they put the remake in remake. Like, it's pretty much the exact same game, which I'm completely fine with. But it's the exact same game to the point that I was like, oh yeah, I remember this bit. Oh, I know what to do here.
Sure.
So it felt like a breeze to play through the game, honestly. I'm like, yeah, we're getting to the medical lab. Yep, there's 2 different directions to go. Like there was stuff I had forgotten, but a good majority of it, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this. I remember doing this because I played through the original a couple times. So...
So does that make it, I mean, other than the zero-G stuff, which was like this weird jump point-to-point thing in the original game, this one has free floating in most of the zero-G environments?
Yeah, there's probably some improvements that I didn't really clue in weren't in the original, like the Zero G stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
Yeah.
it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. It was like I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I was happy. It was a remake. Part of the reason why I finished it so fast is that I planned on the weekend to do my Godot or Godot lessons.
Yeah.
I was really looking forward to it, but because of a generous listener, I ended up with a copy of Dead Space Remake. I wasn't going to buy it because I was going to do that.
Yeah.
But when the possibility presented itself, great. All right, let me play this and just get it over with. So I tried to finish it as quickly as possible because I wanted to get back to what I was doing.
Yeah.
I took the time to savor it, though. It's not a long game.
Yeah. 27 hours.
I think what I like best about it is just how gorgeous, not gorgeous, just that environment, the feeling, the empty ship, the lack of a soundtrack, more of the ship's noises, the engines going bum, 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 bum. There's a room that's just like the loudest shit ever. It's a small little room, but it's so loud, and I'm like, I love this. This is perfect.
Yeah, sound design is top notch. You could tell they worked really hard to make all that sound good.
The environments or the enemies are like neat or whatever, but they're cool looking, but they're nothing, something special. Yeah. It's more the environments and the sound design and that feeling of being in a abandoned space.
It's hard to talk about this game without trying to at least remember how groundbreaking a couple of elements were back in 2008, and those were the slow dismembering of your enemies, and you having that choice of tactically what to do first and how to do it, and which enemies were best suited for what weapon and that sort of thing. That kind of tactical combat and dismemberment is still really cool, but we've seen a billion games do it since. But at the time, Dead Space was like, that was some new shit. Like, nobody was doing it. The other one was the kind of like zero UI in the game. The UI is all built into his suit. And so when you want to know how healthy he is, you look at that thing on his back, and it tells you with both color and size how he's doing. If you want to know if you're out of charges of your kinetic movement thing, you look at his little circly thing on the back and see where that's at. Even when you're interacting with objects in the world, they're all like holographic projections. None of them are static screen type things unless you hit pause and, mess with the menus. And I had to keep, in my playthrough so far, which is about 8 hours, I'm not near where you are, or near to finishing it, I don't think, but pretty far. Every once in a while I have to pinch myself and go, oh, right, yeah, this was unknown. This was unheard of then. Nobody was giving you that information via, the world. Instead, you were getting that information from little dials and switches and buttons and things that were overlaid on everything like we're used to with video games. And this was like a huge step forward in that regard, and a bunch of games have done it since. And I found myself appreciating those bits this time around for what they started or for the innovations that they were. Yeah, that game's cool, man. It's real good. John, I know you played, not as much as Bo, but you have a take on your time in the game so far?
Yeah, the game is awesome, and it's another really good example of this effect that happens where they do a remake or an upscale or a remaster, whatever you want to call it, and you go, oh yeah, this definitely I think looks better. Yeah, this is what I remember, and this I think looks nicer somehow. But then you go back and you look at what it was, and you go, "Oh shit, they did a lot actually.
Yeah.
Like this is severely better." Like, but in my head, I played Dead Space when it first came out. I played through it once. That was the entirety of my experience with Dead Space. I did the same thing with 2. I skipped 3.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't have the greatest memory of it, but I had beaten it and it left a lasting impression on me. And so when I played it, I was like, yeah, flying in. There it is, Planet Cracker, LOL. Like, it just all this stuff came flooding back. But then it's kind of wild because I was like, well, what did it look like? Because actually the thing that I was the most curious about was, I think his name is Hammond, the guy who's like the leader of your group going in, right?
Yeah. Kind of like the captain or whatever.
So when he showed up and we're going through the game, I was like, well, he seems okay. why do I think this guy is the biggest douchebag that ever lived? Because I came in with like a preconceived notion, and as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, this guy, this asshole,
Yeah.
is what I was thinking. I was like, why do I feel that way about him? I was like, I don't remember. I went back and I watched that intro, and one of the things I was struck by was not just that the game looks so much better, but they've redone a lot of dialogue. It's a different voice actor. It's different dialogue in general. It's not just that Isaac now speaks, but the script has been tweaked and reworked as well. And in the original, Hammond's kind of a dick. Like he literally interrupts Kendra at one point. She's like, "We're gonna have to boost the," and he goes, "We know, Kendra."
Great.
And then he
got
goes,
some-
boost the signal.
he's got
And then
some
he says to
mansplaining.
do what he told her to shut up for. He's like, shut up, Kendra. We don't want to hear you.
Yeah.
Okay, do what she was going to say. I was like, oh, this guy totally sucked in the first game, and he's much more likable this time around, which I think actually works to the story's strength because there is like, there's some doubt as to, who can be trusted and all that. And I think liking the people is actually probably a better place to come from. But it was really cool to go back and see the differences. They have done a lot of things different, but they've done it so faithfully and they've done it so lovingly that you miss a lot of it.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I was like really surprised by was how bright that original game was. Because I remember it being dark and scary, and then when I got into this, I was like, "Oh yeah, look, it's dark and scary. I can't even see things." And I went back and watched footage from the first game. I was like, "I can see every goddamn thing in this room. Like, what is going on with this thing?"
Yeah, there's like
And,
a memory wipe or something. That I felt this way too with a lot of it. I just don't remember. Like I'll play through a bunch of it and go, well, that feels like what it used to be. But then I'll go watch some video. I'm like, oh, this is different. Like this is A, much prettier. B, I couldn't run anything better than 30 frames back then. On I think the 360s where I played this. I mean, there's like a ton of stuff that's changed, and all of it for the better, in my opinion. It's to their credit that people immediately just feel at home in it again and aren't noticing some of that. But I feel a little bad. It's almost like the people in the CG industry that make movies and TV, those effects artists who do like bullets hitting the dirt or the red keep on the horizon in Game of Thrones that's not really there. But today you can do that stuff so flawlessly that you don't even think about it, which is the goal. It's both the goal and it's disappointing because those people never really get kind of credit for that stuff unless it stands out more for some reason. And when it stands out more, you don't want that because standing out means you're going to see the seams. So I had a lot of that feeling in this of like, they've done such a good job here that I'm actually not appreciating it all. And I wouldn't mind if the devs for the new team that did the remake sat down and did kind of a short YouTube documentary or something and just like talked about the major differences, what we did with sound this time, why we changed Hammond's dialogue, why is it okay that Isaac talks here and, was a silent protagonist the first time around, like all those kinds of things. That's what I want more out of this game when I beat it is I would like to spend more time with that. And I don't want it all to be some dude bro on YouTube making that video. I'd like them to do it.
Yeah, I want the Valve like Half-Life 2 developer commentary thing. I think would be really cool. I'm a nerd. I've done it. I've done it for all the Half-Life games I've gone through with the developer commentary on. And I think that stuff's cool. And I think for remakes, I think that, that stuff is even more fascinating. What made you decide to deviate here, or how important was it to recapture this moment? I mean, the opening minutes to Dead Space, I feel like, are so iconic. Like, I knew that the remake was going to be okay by the time I got through the intro because I was like, well, they did it. They got that intro right, and it's so important that you do, because it is it's just an iconic opening from, the Ishimura crashing, and it feels like the thing I always thought, my wife and I played through a bit of it together. I watched other people play through it. That initial crash on the Ishimura, everybody goes like, oh, it feels like a Disneyland ride. And I think it feels like a Disneyland ride because it feels so real. They do such a good job of capturing it and making it feel like you're there that you're like, man, this is something different. Like, it just hits differently. And exploring the Ishimura just hits differently than other video games.
Yeah.
I still stand by Dead Space 2 returning to the Ishimura, like, is such an iconic level to me. And it's only iconic because of all the memories and experiences you made in this game and how well they did with the setting and the environment and all of that.
Yeah, I think they earn that, right? They earn that feeling of and I think they earn Isaac's place as an iconic character in gaming, period. Like, that's hard to do. You can't just make a dude and then make him iconic. You have to have a game that supports that pays those dues, so that later you can go, oh yeah, that weird helmet with the multiple lights and the funky thing on his back, and you know, I was reminded in this playthrough so far that he deserves that. They earned it. Now, they let him go too long without a new game. I will say that. And I have a feeling that, you know, we've been talking about, hey, if this does really well, they'll do 2 and 3, won't they? And I'm like, I don't know. I think they may have the success and go straight to 4, or straight to something new, or reboot the universe, or do something. But I think that this is it's selling really well on all platforms. It's reviewing extremely well. It also contains none of the EA bullshit we're used to. Like, not even the launcher. We don't even have to do some EA launcher with it. It's great.
I was having trouble getting the game to launch initially. It had to do with my streaming setup, not the game itself. But I was having some issues launching it, and I thought, you know, I bet. Let me go download Origin. You probably got to put stupid Origin on my computer to make this thing run or something.
Yeah.
And I did, because I thought that might fix it and might help my issue, because I'm like, I'm sure they want Origin to pop up and play. Nope, wasn't that. And turns out I installed Origin for really no good reason. I need to remember to uninstall it from my computer. But it's crazy. They made just this amazing standalone product that
the continue screen's even awesome, because it's continues, like, it loads your save file basically from the menu screen, and then it just unpauses as if you were just unpausing.
Oh, right.
There's a lot of nice touches in the UI, and it's pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. The whole well, I'm playing with a controller, but I don't know what it is on the keyboard. It's probably tab or something. But when you need to know what direction you're going, and you look down at the floor and you get the blue line of direction.
I think it's X.
Is it X on keyboard?
Yeah.
That's another one of those things I take for granted now. Tons of games have some equivalent to that now. But this was the first I'd ever played that had this, like, in the world indicator thing that you could create that didn't mean
I'm
you were
actually
get lost.
shocked this doesn't get duplicated more. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I hate that it doesn't, because I find it so useful as somebody that likes to explore the main story path. I go crazy when it's like they just give you a waypoint. It's like, okay, you gotta go to the north. And you're like, okay, but then the road diverges, and you're like, well, I want to explore and find all the secrets and do all the cool stuff. Which way do I go? Like, having the line say, this is the way you're supposed to go, so that I can go, okay, well, let me go explore the other way first. I find that so helpful.
It's really
to
helpful
me as a player.
Yeah. I agree. And I remember at the time people complain, it's holding your hand. Well, whatever. UI evolves, and I really like it. And there's other games that do use it. It just isn't enough. Like
yeah, but it's like sci-fi. Like, he's an engineer. He has tools. It's like, how do I get to engineering?
No, it fits great in the world.
It's like Chat GPT of this world. It's just like, you can get to engineering by taking the elevator, walking down the hall, and going left. It's like, you know, like in lore, it's like completely. I can suspend my disbelief to believe that on these ships they have navigation systems that point you where you need to go. We're gonna have that in real life when AR glasses are a thing.
Oh, hell yeah! Yeah, those already exist in a weird way with your phones and your cars. It's only,
right.
only a matter of time.
The future's now.
Yeah, we're kind of living in this time. So yeah, it doesn't take it away from me.
I take a cab, and the cab's like sometimes annoyingly follows what's on there because it's sometimes wrong. But yeah.
Horizon Forbidden West does this. I appreciate it for that. It has a version of this. Actually, I like it a little more because the line stays longer. I kind of do like that.
I mean, I could see playing like a MIDI. You don't want it in Elden Ring, maybe.
Maybe not. Although I might.
Scott might.
I might. No, I don't know if I want that. We have an email about this
later.
Sci-fi
stuff, like, it's just a matter of suspending disbelief. And probably in a fantasy game, you can be like, oh, the wisps of Anjabushala. I don't know. The wisps of Anjabushala will tell you where you need to go.
Yep.
Fly, wisps, fly.
Yeah. You could
Show
do that.
us what Ange Belushila is.
These probably exist in some fantasy game in that way. I'll bet you're describing exactly a thing that exists. I just don't know what
probably.
game.
I mean, we already give them like waypoints and stuff like that doesn't exist in the world. I don't think that there's any reason why they couldn't. But yeah, I mean, if like a laser light comes out, maybe you're like, oh, weird. But
It's a decision. Like maybe there's a game where the labyrinth matters. Like I'm fine with Elden Ring using visual cues maybe to fun. Like labyrinths are fun, and no one wants to be guided around a labyrinth.
Yeah.
'Cause
You
that's the
either
point of it.
you may
That's
not
that
want to
puzzle.
play it, but if you're okay with labyrinths, you don't always want to have your handheld. I totally get it. But this game, this is the other thing that hit me during my playtime so far, and I'd forgotten this feeling. But this is basically a Metroid game. It's a Metroidvania in a very core way for me. It reminds me of the Metroid Prime games in particular, in terms of structure. So you have these crazy, cavernous interiors that you've got to find your way around. There's backtracking. There's stuff you can't get into yet, but later you will. Like, I don't think people talk about it a lot, but these games are kind of Metroid games, and I'm here for
The
it.
reason they don't qualify as a Metroid game is you don't get abilities that grant you the access to the locations. It's
You just
just
security.
it's just
tokens.
gated. It's just narrative gated. Which
Oh, that's a good
Well,
point. Yeah.
that is
keeps
so.
it out of a
that-
Metroidvania in my mind.
yeah.
I have almost universal praise for this game. I have one itty bitty complaint that is so close to being a positive. I'm not even sure if it's a complaint.
Would you call it beef
Well-
or no beef?
It may be beef. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like somebody's giving me a prize, and it's maybe not the prize I think I want, but I really like it at the same time. So I'll just let you know what it is. I put this on Twitter. I had a couple people link me to the article. The original Dead Space, if you cleared a room, there would be no more enemies in that room ever unless the game forced you to backtrack through it. There's a couple times in Dead Space where you will go through the areas as a story beat that you've already been, and maybe there will be new enemies this time that you
Sure,
go through. But
sure.
as far as backtracking, if you went back through a room and you've killed the enemies, there wouldn't be anything there to fight you. And so when you would get your security clearance upgrade and you remember like, oh, there were all those level 2 chests that I couldn't open, now I can. I'm going to go open those. You'd just be running through empty halls, and then you'd go and you'd open them and you can get them and then move on. And that doesn't make for the most exciting experience in the world, although you might feel rewarded that you cleared the area of enemies. But you'd then go and open the chest. This new game utilizes some form of like the director from like Left 4 Dead, where it has random events that can happen in a bunch of different rooms to kind of randomize the horror, so you don't know exactly what to expect. It might be a sound, it might be something failing, it might be an explosion, but it could also be enemies. So that when you backtrack, there is a good chance you will run into monsters and stuff like that, which keeps the scary game being scary, which that part I think is good. The only issue that I have with it is I feel like that is a system that works against exploration, which is also what they want you to do. Because what I found was when I started going back to try and find these chests that I could now open, I was using up more ammo and more life to get to the chests than what I got out of the chests. And I very
see.
quickly went, man, it is costing me way more to go looking for these materials than what I'm getting out of looking for them. I guess I'm going to stop going off the beaten path and just stick with the beaten path. So I feel like that's a smart design decision, but it also kind of works against its own design, and I'm not 100% sure
How many
which
weapons do you
decision I think is the best. I don't know. I got like 8 weapons.
Well,
Got
if you
a
have
whole
a Ripper-
inventory full of weapons.
have? Use the. Don't waste your shot. Use a Ripper.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Ripper's great.
Ripper is pretty ammo efficient. Like there's ways around that when you're going exploring. Ripper's pretty ammo efficient, and the upgraded plasma cutter, the third node, on melee, it lets you knock down.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I don't have
a
the
pretty big
third yet.
upgrade,
I've
and
got
yeah,
only
you-
the first 2 on that.
Depends
one
what,
right
at
now.
what point you decide to go back to like do
Yeah.
things, but the Ripper's really ammo efficient, I find.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I've kind of learned because I don't like the Ripper. I don't like it as a gun. But because I've burned through the ammo of so many of my other guns where I don't have very much, I'm like, well, I guess I got to use this Ripper. And then I very quickly realized, like, oh, you know what I'm never going through ammo on is this gun right here. This one's okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
the Ripper's basically it's a chainsaw, really.
It's a chainsaw, but with kinesis, so that it floats out in front of you a bit.
Yeah.
So that it's like it's range, but still close quarter combat.
Yeah.
I think ultimately it is a net positive to find ways to make your scary game scary. I think maybe for me the better solution would be I wish those chests were a little more rewarding.
Mm.
Because you go through hallways, you lose half your health. I'll tell you what always gets me. It's not so much the big guys, the little things that crawl on you.
Yeah, you have to hit
I have
A.
maybe successfully prevented those from crawling on me twice.
Yeah.
They always get me. I don't know why I can't see them. They're bright white. They make a sound, but they get me
They blow
literally every
They
time.
Yeah.
blow out of the big guys, the big belly guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're in
They'll
their guts.
usually explode out of those. So what you do, and it took me a while to get used to this, is switch to the flamethrower. Flamethrower is pretty good at clearing them out. Just if you need an efficient way to dispatch them. Flamethrower.
Yeah.
The problem is I don't know they're there until I'm
Yeah.
done.
What difficulty are you playing on?
I think I'm just on normal. I
Okay,
think I'm on the
yeah.
default.
Yeah, because the difficulty I think affects the ammo resources. I was watching Scott play, and Scott had like 500,000.
Oh, yeah, it was-
Well,
Scott
yeah,
shots,
Scott's
and
health also regens, and I can't tell you the amount of times I was like, "Boy, it sure would be nice if my my health regen."
Well, here's the
right
nice
now."
thing. I don't know if people would call this cheating or not. I really don't care. But if you're hurting, move over into that mode just temporarily till your bar goes up, and then go back to the mode you wanted to be on. I guess it
That
does.
is
that.
cheating,
Does
but
that
that's
kill
fine.
does that kill your achievement? Because you get achievements
Oh, I don't know.
based on
Maybe.
difficulty level. 'Cause
Maybe.
I
there's
don't think
one-
he's worried about.
I don't
it.
care about
There's
achievements.
There is the impossible, which I contemplated doing, which is make it through the game on hard without dying. If you die, you can still play on hard, but you don't get credit for the hardcore.
Oh, you don't get the
Finish.
achievement for it. Yeah.
Which I think if you finish on hardcore, you get I think in the original you get a finger gun. You get like some wonky gun or reward for doing it.
Oh,
that
that's
way.
right. Didn't he even make pew pew noises when he would shoot
Yeah,
it? Like
yeah.
he'd walk
Shut
around
up.
going pew pew pew.
I
pew,
don't
pew,
remember
pew,
that.
pew,
Is that a
pew.
thing?
It might be in 2, but I
No,
think
it's
there
in
was,
one. The finger
okay.
gun is in one. So I think I got it. I can't remember. I know I've played the game a lot. Like I'm very familiar with the Dead Space ship layout. That's why I was like, this game is pretty much the same.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I got it. I don't know. There's definitely a finger gun you can get though.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's
sure if I got
awesome.
It's yeah. I mean, what else can we say about it? It's very good. I think that it bodes well for what they may do with it next. I also think this bodes well for EA's posture toward players, at least in this release. I know it's a remake, but it's a full
Do
priced
you
remake.
want to see them remake 2?
Yes.
And maybe 3?
I
or
would
do you
love
want
to see
them
2
moving
again.
Forward?
3 I didn't play
Yes.
either, but I love 2.
3 is great. By the way, 3 like super underrated because it got dumpster fired with the microtransaction thing.
Yeah.
But it barely affects the game if you actually play it. There's never it wasn't well implemented. As someone who's played 3 multiple times, and the co-op's pretty awesome. It makes the game less scary. It's kind of more of an action shooter, which is fun in its own way.
Yeah.
Everyone I know who's played 3 says it gets kind of unfairly criticized. I never played it. As soon as they said it's a co-op game, I went, nope, I am not interested at all.
But imagine
You've
you can play
taken the
with
thing
Scott.
I like about the game and
Imagine
ruined it.
rather
So-
than just watch Scott, you could play with Scott as like a
I
buddy.
would rather just watch Scott because he's gonna be more scared by himself. Like
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to playing 3. I'm not trying to tell people that they can't like co-op games, but like to me, the isolation, the loneliness, you're all on your own. Yeah,
I guess what really
I don't
rocks,
think Dead Space should have been a co-op game, but
Mm.
I guess what really rocks about the third one is the first half. I wish it's not long enough, maybe like the first third, because your ship is in warp and like it sort of falls out, or you end up in a ship graveyard.
Right.
So it's just like endless space full of like derelict. It's not one derelict ship; it's an endless pile of derelict ships, and it's really fun hopping from ship to ship, not knowing what kind of asshole aliens you're gonna find in the next damn ship, and some of them are really old. Like it was just a cool idea, but then you do more of the thing on the frozen planet, which is fine. But I really like the ship graveyard in 3, like that. They should, if they remake 3, they should just make it ship graveyard, like just like a roguelike with 500 ships, and you just gotta survive
Ooh,
through.
Now you're making me
Yeah.
want that. That sounds
Because what's
right.
more fun than one ship, like 500, you know? So,
Well,
yeah.
John, you're like a hardcore or Resident Evil fan. Those games, especially the remakes, have a similar problem with backtracking where there's creatures. You just get more risk reward ratio. Like you feel more benefited by going back, and even if you had to deal with 2 guys you didn't want to or you're already killed, you're gonna get more loot or something. Like
I think, I don't know. I think part of the problem is Dead Space, at least for me, and I don't know, Bo, maybe you're the same way. Maybe this is just the general consensus. Resident Evil, I'm more likely to run from the monsters. Dead Space is more like, no, you got to find a way to kill them. Like, it's a game about killing the monsters. I think I've maybe in my entire time playing twice left a room full of monsters and just been like, you know what? I don't need to even be in here. I can just go. I usually always fight in Dead Space, and maybe that's my problem. But Resident Evil, I play more.
No,
I
you gotta
play a
kill
lot
them.
safer. I run from most of the stuff.
In Dead Space, if you leave a room that they're in, they'll use the monster closets to catch up to you in whatever new room you're in. So they can't open the doors, but they can go through the vents.
oh right.
So even if you don't kill them, they find you and get you anyways. So
Yeah, that happened to me. I think the game, maybe I'm giving the game too much power here. But I have played through the first little bit of Dead Space Remake a couple of times because I played it to make sure it was going to run. Then I played it with my wife because we're doing a video thing together on it. And then I played through again just to have like a playthrough for me. And so there was one like particular moment where it was a scare where you go into an item room, which typically are safe, you know, most of the time. But in this one, I knew a monster broke through the wall and tried to get me. So I'm in the room and I'm like waiting. And I've got the gun trained on it. And I like loot the item, turn back to the wall. There's another item, I loot the item, turn back to the wall. I'm like, I'm going to get you when you pop out. He never popped out. And I was like, well, that's weird. He definitely has popped out the other 2 times I did this. I opened the door and he was standing right behind the door waiting to come in. I was like, it actually scared me more than it would have if he had popped out of the wall. I don't know if the game recognized that I was hyper focused on the jump scare and was like, no, we just won't spawn him there. We'll spawn him somewhere else. Yeah. Or, you know, if something just went weird or wonky, but it wound up being really scary and definitely put me in the path of like, well, maybe this game can pull some tricks on me.
Yeah, it's good. It's real good. Do either of you see the animes they did when these were big?
I did back at the time because I was so into Dead Space when I played through it the first time. So I know I've seen it.
First one was called Dead Space Downfall. Second one was 2010 called Dead Space Aftermath. I like them both a lot, and they are currently streaming for free on Tubi, Plex, Freebie, Vudu, a bunch of places. If you had ad blocker on your browser and you use Tubi to watch it, you'll never get an ad. It's great. The others have ways around it, but Tubi's dumb with their ad because they don't seem to care. You can block them so easy. It doesn't matter what you're watching on there. It's just block ads. It's like nothing. On TVs, obviously, you'll have to sit through some ads, but they're up there and worth seeing. I like that stuff a lot. I thought they were really cool at the time. It was a while ago, so maybe I need to check back in and. You know, we've improved since then. The Castlevania.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Like that's the crazy thing is they're old at this point.
Yeah,
but,
no doubt about it.
I know at least one of them. The anime is what leads into Dead Space. So you see the Ishimura as it's functioning. You see all the characters from it, and you see how things went down.
Oh right.
I don't remember if that's the case with both of them, but definitely with one of them.
I'm pretty sure not Aftermath, but the other one. It's Downfall. That's the one where you learn what happened before you got there. And Isaac's not in it at all. It also goes way more into that weird religion. What are they called? The Unitonians or whatever? What is it?
Unitology.
Not Unitarians. I keep saying
Church
that.
of Unitology.
Unitology. It's
yeah.
Unitology.
Yeah, they worship units. Anyway, there's way more about them and how they contributed to this problem. It's really good. I thought at the time.
And what do they mean by unit? That's what I want to know.
That's right. They had a decent cast. Bruce Boxleitner, a.k.a. Tron, is in there. Kelly Hu, Jeff Bennett, Jim Cummings. He's cool. Pretty sure he played. Who's the Banff X-Men character?
Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler. It was Nightcrawler in the movie. The just sort of German looking dude. Anyway, that guy. Moving on. We're done with that. Hey, so that's exciting stuff. Check out that game. It's rad, and we think you will like it if you give it a spin. It also ran really well. That's the other thing. I didn't have a single glitch with it. And it runs on the Steam Deck.
I've had some issues.
Oh, you
but
have? I haven't had any.
Not nearly what I've run into with Callisto Protocol.
Oh.
So.
I haven't had a single issue. Oh no, that's not true. Carter and I were playing, and it might have been because we were streaming. I don't know. But when your ship blows up and you're out on the deck of the kind of docking zone there, that explosion took me down to like 15 frames for about 10 seconds, and it was consistently 10 frames, and then it went away. It was fine.
Yeah, I've had a couple things. So when I had HDR on, or the ray tracing on, sorry, you know the angry doors in that game.
Yeah.
Every now and then you run into a door that's just mad at the world,
Yeah.
and you gotta slow it down. The first angry door really just destroyed my computer for a moment. I don't know why. There was nothing else going on, but just that one door really did it. And there's a cutscene. It was actually on stream that this happened. There's a cutscene that kind of comes out of nowhere where Isaac gets locked in stasis, and a guy talks to him. And that cutscene almost completely locked up my computer. I paused it to end the stream and unpaused it after the stream, and everything was fine. So I've had a couple of like frame rate hits that were kind of significant, or at least jitters here and there. But in general, it has run very, very well.
Yeah, it's better than Callisto Protocol. And the dude, Callisto Protocol guy, who was the original Dead Space developer, got online and had nothing but glowing compliments for the team who made this remake and thanked them for being
nice to see.
It is nice to see
someone being a little sour grapes about it, especially because Callisto Protocol isn't exactly getting all the attention in the world. Although I've heard it has sold. It is still sold
EA shut down the studio, right?
Oh yeah, at the time,
they were all, like, you know.
I'd have sour grapes about that for sure. But
it seems like he still wants to make Dead Space, given that he made Callisto Protocol, which is kind of Dead Space. Seems like he still wanted to make those games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's it's gracious of him to compliment, because they're clearly taking his stuff or his team's stuff and making stuff with it.
Yep. It's about to go. It's gonna go on, I guess. All right.
I'll also one more shout out for praising this game. The fog is really good. I don't know if everyone has the same fog experience, but
the fog's good.
The fog is like really, really, really good.
Yeah, it's not like that's one place you'll notice the difference if you look at what they tried to do in the old game. It's an old technique of basically an invisible polygon that has an alpha graphic of some smoke, and it's usually pre-generated, so it kind of looks samey. This does not do that. It's like dynamic and
you can see the light hit it, like the way that fog cuts kind of through.
There you go, like volumetric lighting. That's what it's called. Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, sure. But it's
really
just,
pretty.
It's visually, you're just like, whoa! I feel like I can smell some of the stuff. It smells like because of the fog. It's cool.
Great particulates in the air, all that kind of stuff. It's really well thought out. And also the versions of the game we all got have some extra skins, and they're all really cool. I thought
I saw you putting them on, and I was like, it's your first playthrough. You can't do it for your first playthrough.
I don't care.
I don't think he's gonna have a second playthrough, so I'm only gonna
let
him do whatever he wants to do.
I feel like it ruins the narrative cohesion. Like, I'm just an engineer, and now I'm in this alien situation. Scott's running around with like a bloody crotch.
Yeah,
and like
it was more than that. My
antlers on his head, and like I'm just like
my entire midsection was missing. I was basically a zombie myself, but we just did it temporarily, and it breaks narrative. But it wasn't like I went, I can't now. I don't know what to like. It's fine. It didn't bother me.
Yeah, I know you were fine. It was hurting me watching you. I was like,
I'm in the same boat as Bo as far as reasoning, because there's a suit that looks like the Dead Space 2 suit in the various suits. I was like, oh, it looks so much cooler in 2. Like, I'm a sucker for that stuff. I know there's some people that like the old clunkiness because he's an engineer, so it's not gonna look like he's not gonna look like Genji. But you put the right kind of curves and lighting on it, like they do in 2, and I'm like, oh, but it looks so much cooler. Oh, it's so cool.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to keep that on, but I had the same logic as Bo, where I went, yeah, but it's his first time. He's an engineer. And I'm going to upgrade the suit, and you do get to see the progression of the suit, which I love. That is something that I am a huge sucker for in games, where when I upgrade my suit and it gets more inventory space and whatever you're doing, if that's reflected on me, you get at least 3 more points in my book. And that's what happens. He just gets more plates.
Yeah.
Like, the suit doesn't even look that much cooler. It's still basically the same, but they just put more plates on him. And I'm like, I'm here for it. It's good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah. I like when they go through that trouble. Otherwise, it's just this imaginary number that goes up. And I don't know. I like the real world effect of it. But the Tron looking one's the one I'm wearing right now, which is not the original suit. Not Tron, but it's like kind of futuristic and has blue light.
Yeah, I think that is the one that kind of looks like the Dead Space 2
Is
one.
that the 2 one?
That's
Yeah.
the one. That's what I would be running around with if I didn't feel tied to lore and first time experience.
Yeah, in 2 he has less of the engineer look. He's
Sure.
he adapts over the series to be a little more cool.
Yeah, he's a tougher dude
Warrior.
by then. He's seen some
Yeah.
shit, you know.
I mean, that's the only thing I'd lament about this game is I kind of want to just do more engineering mini puzzles because I'm an engineer. Like there's a little bit too much.
Yeah.
I like putting batteries into holes and turning valves and stuff. I'm just like, that's the whole franchise. It would be my only criticism would be like, can you give me more engineering, like fake engineering? Because engineering is not that easy of a job in real life. But video game engineering tasks, please.
Mm-hmm. I like what they do with like stasis stuff for the puzzles.
Yeah,
like,
I just want more
yeah.
puzzles. Like they're fine, but they don't. I really want to work out how to get Planet Cracker's engine restarted.
I feel you. It's a cool game. Good experience. Y'all should check it out. We are now going to dive into this week's Patreon question of the week. This is from Garrett, not Garrett Weinzerl, not our friend Garrett, different Garrett. Says, hey guys, Bo's all disappointed. Hey guys, love the show and the chemistry. I think he means our chemistry with each other, not just chemistry in general.
No, not the cocaine I sent them.
No,
Okay.
not that. Says this question is probably more for John, but hopefully you all have an opinion as well. I bought Final Fantasy VII Intergrade without knowing what it actually was. I thought it was just. He says, I thought it was a remastered version of the
I
original.
have $70 and
Yep.
low inhibitions.
Yep.
What am I gonna do today?
Yep. Give me something. I don't know what it is. He says he bought it thinking it was a remaster of the original, but boy, was I wrong. I couldn't get through it because I got bored with it. The entire game just felt like filler, not to mention the fact that that to me, this seems like a money grab to break out pieces of the original and charge people for a full price game each time. Maybe I missed an episode where you discussed the game, but if not, I'd be interested what your thoughts are. Yeah, we definitely did talk about it.
It's for sure just like that's most remakes. It's like, let's remake something so we have less risk, and why don't we break it up into as many financial units as possible? That's pretty much how
it's the StarCraft 2 method, man. It's what they did with StarCraft 2, and they successfully pulled it off. They made you pay 3 times for what was supposed to be originally one game for 3 campaigns and pay full price each time. They got you.
And I'd do it again. StarCraft 2 was
good. Yeah, it was really good.
And I'm going to do it for Final Fantasy. Not only does it cost the game price, sir. It's sir or ma'am?
Sir.
Sir.
Garrett. Unless her name is
It's going to
Garrett.
cost me a console every time because I don't buy PlayStations. Well, it cost Tanner the console, but this time I'm going to have to drop $500 to play the second installment, and I might have to buy a PlayStation 6 to buy the next one. So, I mean, it's pretty expensive for sure.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I feel his pain. I think I understand what he's saying, and he's not. I guess he's kind of not wrong, like you said, Bo. That it is kind of what they're doing, but these are big, sprawling remakes. I
think if he liked it, he wouldn't be as ticked, I guess. But he didn't like it, I think, right?
I'm a little surprised why he was bored. I didn't find that game boring, although I need to finish it still. But
I'm gonna say this. I think that Final Fantasy VII Remake, if the next 2 parts are of as good a quality as the first one, I'm gonna like it a hell of a lot more than I like original Final Fantasy VII. I think it is absolutely a better game and a better experience, but I can see if you thought you were just getting a pretty graphics remake, being disappointed with what you got.
He didn't play the original though, right?
I don't. He
Right.
doesn't say that. He says I thought it was just a remastered version of the original. To me, that
Well, he
implies
didn't know
that
what it
he's
was.
Played it, but
So
Yeah.
he said he bought Final Fantasy VII Integrated without knowing what it actually was, which
Yeah.
means to me that reads as because I'm not aware of what going on with the original.
If that's true, then he would
Yeah,
be.
could
I
be.
think he's in for the most boring time of his life if he. Plays
If
the
you
original.
know what the original is, then you know that this is clearly a remake of the original. Like, this,
Right.
like
Bo might have a point.
what is
there.
this Dead Space remake? I don't, there was an original. Like,
Well, they called this
Yeah.
intergrade, whatever the hell that means. But, yeah, I fair point. Actually, John, finish your thought. Sorry, you were in the middle of.
Yeah,
well,
sorry.
I just think that, like, to me at least, I guess I don't have enough information because I can see Bo's point where you read this and you go, well, maybe he doesn't know what Final Fantasy VII is and was just like, I got this game. But complaining that it felt like filler to me sounds like somebody that went in expecting Final Fantasy VII and then went, well, why am I running around and doing all this? Why aren't they getting on with the story? What's going on here? And to me, that sounds like they have a familiarity with it. And
Okay.
are disappointed by the experience they're getting, which I
maybe.
think canonically makes them in Intergrade. They're the ghosty wispy people that I call Twitter. That's what I think those are in the game. Because we've
That
talked
was the
about
biggest
this
wispy
before.
ghost
Final
guy.
Fantasy VII remake. They're on screen right
Yeah, I
now.
put
There
them
it
up.
is. They're
Yeah.
they're being attacked by Twitter
Yeah,
right now.
well, I mean, to me, they look more just like Haunted Laundry.
Well, yeah.
You didn't
Haunted-
wash me for 500 years and then come back to be mad at you.
Haunted Laundry, Twitter, it's all the same thing. So yeah, I don't know, but I'm sorry you were bored with it. I think it's really good. I
Well,
probably wouldn't have gotten into Final Fantasy VII period if I
So there's
hadn't
a
liked it
realm,
so much.
having played Dead Space Remake, John, there's a realm where they could have made it as graphically exactly the same as they did, but preserved the look and feel, top-down maps, the same battle system identically. Like they could have made
Sure.
the game be like almost identical in play, but with like Unreal Engine for or whatever graphics.
Right.
Do you think you would rather have it that way, or are you happy with what you got?
No, I think this is better. I think this is a
Yeah.
better way to go.
See, like I'm not sure.
because
I liked what I got, but I couldn't say that for sure. That now having played Dead Space Remake, that I wouldn't just want an orgasmic graphics version of what I already got.
I don't
Right.
make video games. I can't speak to this. I have heard this, so I'm going to repeat it here. Is that if they were going to try to make a just verbatim, but now it's voice acted and all of that, Final Fantasy VII with the level of graphics that they want, it would have been an insane amount of discs or an insane file size because of all just how big the script would be, and
Yeah,
they would
sure.
have to make significant cuts and all of that. I think what they're doing is more interesting to me than simply a better graphical thing. Now, I think both should exist.
Mhm.
I think Square Enix should, especially because it seems like Remake is a sequel of sorts. I think they should make a not this level graphics, but a graphically much better, high def, high resolution backgrounds, better character models,
Hell
redo
yeah.
the script. The
Preach,
script
brother,
needs
preach.
the
Yeah!
script needs a lot of work.
Let's give him a Cloud Strife.
and put that out. I think
Let's
both
hear it.
products should exist.
Yeah, I think.
Because I hear the planet crying out in pain, okay?
Yes,
and
we're
I
here
know
on the
it's
planet.
I know it's
Oh,
there.
Shinra, we're here on the planet, crying out in pain. We need a proper remake. Yeah.
What's his
I
name
don't know why
again?
I'm doing that. I'm just
Bane.
trying to be encouraging.
What's his name? Brutus Blaine
Barrett.
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 I always forget
Barrett.
Barrett's name.
Oh, close to Garrett. We got Barrett and
Oh,
Garrett.
Barrett
That could
talking
be a
about Garrett.
spin-off. That could
Yeah.
be a DLC. Barrett and Garrett.
Barrett and Garrett together at last.
Barrett and Garrett go to Shinra.
Yep. Hopefully that answers your question, Garrett, and let us know if you have any follow up on any of that. All right, time to talk about the games we played this week. And these are, of course, the games that we played that are not Dead Space, okay? Because we all played Dead Space. We've talked about it now. We'll talk about other games now. Huge update happened that I forgot was happening, but when it happened, I got all excited, and then I did some really dumb things. Hitman World of Assassination is now a video game. And what that is, it is formerly what you all called Hitman 3, is now a massive game called Hitman World of Assassination. If you already owned it, it just converted to this. If you didn't own it, it's currently on sale at a very reasonable price. You should get it before it goes back up to $70. It includes everything Hitman 3 had, but also includes Hitman 1, Hitman 2, all of the missions therein, and it includes a brand new mode called Freelancer Mode, which I cannot say enough about this freaking mode. It is so good. I'll get to that in a minute.
I rebought this game when I found out this existed. Just so we're on the same page.
Okay.
I did.
Turns out we are kind of on the same page because here's what happened.
Okay.
I noticed that the Game Pass version of 3 converted to this. So I'm like, oh, it's just Game Pass. I'll just play it on Game Pass.
Yeah.
And I started playing it on Game Pass, and I'm like, I don't want to quit playing right now and go to bed. I would like to have the relaxation of a bed, but continue playing Hitman World of Assassination. And I can't do that from my chair in my office. How am I going to accomplish this? My answer was spend $37 on it again without a save transfer, mind you, after a ton of progress. Buy it again on Steam, where I didn't currently own it for some reason. I have it on Epic's stupid store because remember back when you could only get 3 that way?
Yeah, that's how I have it too. That's why I had to rebuy it because I had it on Epic.
Yeah, this is annoying.
I didn't have 1 or 2 on Epic. I just had 3, and
same.
Dumb.
It's because we couldn't wait, right? Well, now now I own this game in 3 places, and I paid for it again on Steam so that I could take it with me on the deck, and it is wonderful on the Steam Deck. So being able to jump back and forth between my PC and my Steam Deck, very compelling fun to do that. And I'm playing through stuff I already beat because no save transfers for that stuff, even though I think there should be a way to do that, but there isn't. Anyway, it remains one of the greatest sandbox games ever made, like straight up period. 1, 2, and 3 are all amazing. And as a complete package, it's just an insane amount of content. Then they add this new mode, which came out with this change called Freelancer Mode. And it is basically a roguelike game mode. When I first heard that, I went, oh, do we all have to do roguelikes now? Is this going to be the thing? Like everyone's got a mode now. And that's, I kind of poo-pooed it. Then I played it and then I pooped myself. It's so good. I'm still sitting in the fecal matter I created 2 days ago when I started playing it again. That's not true. Anyway, Freelancer is basically you have a safe house, and your goal, or one of your goals, is to build that safe house out. That includes furniture and shit, but also guns and weapons and items and tools that you want to further use. But Bo, you'll like this from a difficulty standpoint and challenge standpoint. The game does not, unlike the other modes, although you can play hardcore modes in the other games, in the campaigns as well. But in this mode, there is no way to save, scum save or otherwise. There's no way to do any of that. So if you screw up and get caught or shot or killed or whatever, you'll return to your safe house and you can go again. You basically show up in a bed wrapped in bandages and you're all banged up from it. But you lose your stuff. You basically lose your progress. If you had a really awesome sniper rifle you worked real hard for and you just got sloppy in that mission and you screwed up that particular campaign, you lost your awesome thing and you got to try to get it another way.
But like you have long-term unlockables for the safe house?
Some of it, yes.
The finish and run?
Yes, some of it, yes.
Something
The tools, some of the tools, yes. But none of the guns. The guns, you get your basic little pistol at a unit, but everything else you lose. And so
I don't need a fancy sniper rifle. I have a can of spaghetti.
You have a can of spaghetti, and that's the thing. The world gives you lots of options anyway. It's just like you want to collect you kind of want to collect everything, right? And there's a real challenge there because you can't just save your way through things. I think saving your way through stuff in the campaign is also a really fun way to play Hitman because there's this moment of like, all right, I want to experiment. I'm going to save, and now I'm going to beat this lady with a tree, or I'm going to throw that guy off the ledge and onto the dude who's my target. Let's see if that actually works and I don't get seen. Oh, shoot, I got seen. All right, well, I'll reload, and this time I'll try the can of spaghetti. Or, that experimentation is, you benefit from having a save system in the game, and a quick one. This one or this mode gives you none of that. So you just have to be smart and really think about it and use everything you've learned and they
I mean,
encourage
there's a
you.
lot of modes in the games too. Those aren't the only 2 modes either.
No. There's a ton
There's
more.
like
oh yeah,
other
there's
stuff. There's
lots of stuff.
Yeah.
I know,
Tons of
'cause
content.
My first experiences in VR and the menu was a little like, oh my god, where's what I'm looking for? There's so many game types. But the roguelite sounds, that sounds very appealing.
Oh,
It's
I
really
love
good.
Hitman so
VR
much.
is the real
You've-
hard
you've
mode though.
sold me so hard on this, Scott,
It's
because
so good.
I
Well-
adore the Hitman game. These new Hitman games, they are so much fun.
Yeah.
And you get all 3 games now, like for one
Yeah.
even that alone.
You
now,
own
there's
it.
no-
You already have 3 because you did the VR thing. So you now have
Yeah.
the entire package.
Yeah, and all the because one of the things used to read the comments and it'd be like, okay, you need a guide on how to buy all the expansion packs, like what to buy in what order.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the page now. There's no DLC. You buy Hitman 3, that's it.
Yeah.
There's 2 DLC, but it's just like street art pack and makeshift. Like it's clearly just cosmetics.
It's cosmetics,
yeah.
yeah. And they'll
So
keep
don't
doing
buy
some
that.
of that. But
Yeah, so it just seems like, boom, you have one.
no,
thing
it's
to
an
buy.
amazing value. And I want to say the whole thing in total is maybe 77 gigabytes, which by today's standards with AAA style games like this with this much content is kind of small sounding. But the environments are insane. Like I cannot believe there's this feeling when you walk into an early one, even in 1, where they're doing a French fashion show.
Oh yeah, I think that's literally the first level. It's so good.
It's so good and it's so diverse and it's so like I can go up through the basement, I can come this way. Like they're not small places and there's so many people and and when you first see it, especially if you're new to the game, you're like, I don't know how am I going to do this? My target's sitting there in the middle of 300 people. If I kill him in the front of people, I'm dead. What am I supposed to do? And then the game's like, all right, start thinking what you got to do. Oh, there's a guard who's just out of reach. Throw a coin behind a car. He'll go look at it. No one's looking there. No cameras. Take him down. Dress like him. Now you can get up through security. Oh, there's some really weird shit upstairs you can deal with. And it's so detailed.
Like a vampire costume.
Yeah. There's a vampire in their costume. You can be the one in is it Miami where you're at the racetrack. You can be this mascot, looks like a big stupid duck or whatever he is.
Yeah.
But it lets you get into areas you couldn't get into normally.
I like the Christmas
good.
event they do on that same map where you
Yeah.
have to murder the wet bandits from Home Alone.
Yeah.
Like
Wet
that.
Bandit?
Yeah. You remember Home Alone? Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
do you have the love?
they have
What's the
Harry
wet
and
bandit?
Marv as 2 thieves going around during this fashion show stealing stuff,
Yeah.
and you have to murder them at Christmas time. And also Santa Claus is there, and he teleports around, and you can in fact murder Santa Claus and dress up as Santa Claus if you want.
Yeah.
Was
It's
this in the Home Alone video game?
No,
the
this
whole-
isn't Hitman.
No,
this
in
is
Hitman.
their Christmas DLC.
Why am I thinking about Home Alone?
because he
Because
just
they
told you.
named the criminals after the wet bandits from Home Alone.
The Wet Bandits. What are Wet Bandits?
Don't worry. Oh my gosh, Bo. Don't worry about it. Okay, in Home Alone, I gotta explain it because now he's asked.
Yeah.
In Home Alone, you know Joe Pesci's character and what was the other guy's name?
Oh, it just left me.
Voice from the Wonder Years.
Shit.
His name.
That guy. I know his name. I'll look it up while you're talking.
Joe Pesci and the other one
Yeah. I can't think of his
played
name.
characters named Harry and Marv. Okay.
They're called the
And
Wet
they
Bandits.
called themselves the Wet Bandits.
Right.
Because they would leave the water running in the
Daniel
houses
Stern.
af-
Daniel Stern.
Daniel
Sorry.
Stern.
Oh,
That's
it's
it.
like a movie in lore. Okay, that's.
So
I thought it was like a thing, like a wet bandit. Do you know what a wet bandit is? I was like, I don't know. I didn't realize. Yeah, you must have seen that movie more recently than me. I don't remember any of that.
they're doing an homage. It's not an official Home Alone tie-in. It's just the thieves happen to be called Marv and
Gotcha.
Harry,
I
and
think
they
I
do
got it.
turn the water on in the bathrooms as they go through them. So
Okay.
they are wet bandits,
Yeah.
as a matter of fact.
That's exactly right.
So a wet bandit is someone that turns on water sources while they steal.
Yes.
The B&E.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
canonically.
Now,
Put it on Urban Dictionary.
if
I'm
you go
glad
to-
I
yeah, if you
asked
go
for
to-
clarification.
If you want to go to Urban Dictionary, you'll see the top definition is about Home Alone and Marv and Harry. But the very next one, I wouldn't read that if I were you. I would avoid those other definitions.
mean,
If
many
you read it,
things.
I won't have to read it.
I ain't reading it on the show. Good Lord. Yeah, I can't do
Isn't
that.
bad.
A female, I can't do it. I can't read it.
right, I'll go look it
It's
up.
as
Hang
far
on.
as he got.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. But there is this other one. There's one called The Wet Bandit, a mysterious man who strikes at unsuspecting bathrooms of mainly Chinese restaurants and Burger Kings. He pisses on walls and shits on the floor while leaving a poetic note to the obvious nips or athletic high school kids who work there. He is generally accompanied by his accomplices, the bedroom brawler and the ass burglar. The Wet Bandit's legend is known on a 300-mile stretch of northeastern I-80 as he struck an unprecedented 7 times in one day. Here's a
Sounds like it was written by that guy about himself. He was
Yeah,
just
I don't
like, man, it's time to make myself. You know that in Guardians of the Galaxy where he's like, you may know me by another name, Star-Lord.
yeah.
Everybody goes, who?
Yeah.
That's this guy. He's like, I'm the Wet Bandit.
Mm-hmm.
Who?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go write it on Urban Dictionary, you guys.
Yep. Yeah. It's but all the rest of these, do not read these. Don't read these.
Oh, I read the one you didn't want to read. I mean,
It's heinous.
it fits. I don't know if it's heinous.
Well,
It's not hard to imagine.
I'm not
It's
gonna
gross.
keep-
It's gross. We probably don't want to read it, but it's not like
it's
that
also
probably happened. Someone probably did that.
yeah, but nobody
You know?
went, how'd you like the Wet Bandit I just did? No one's doing that.
No, you don't use it. You would never use it in that context, right? Like you'd be like, that person's a real wet bandit.
Nobody's gonna walk in. No, I'm trying to think like, hey,
You're just like, how about this person? You know, I like this person, but they're a real wet bandit.
yeah,
They're
but
like,
what
I
if you-
know, right? You had the experience too. Yes.
What if you're what if you're on a third date and you say, hey Sheila, we've had a good
Hey,
time.
you're talking to your bro. Your bro. You're like, how's your date going? It's
No,
like,
I get
"Good,
that,
good."
but I'm saying
That's
if you're
good
with a
base,
girl,
but
if you're with a
you
girl,
know-
you're 3 dates into it, and you say to her,
I think
Sheila,
a dude could be this too.
well,
by
that's
the
totally
way.
fine. But here's my scenario. You say to the girl, well, not by that definition. I don't think a dude can be that.
No, but I think
Yeah,
in
a dude
principle
could,
you could
look
still
not
do it.
as defined, but you definitely can leave shit around that you don't.
You're getting too close to telling people what it says. All right, but
Well,
okay.
speaking from personal experience, okay, as a dude, it's possible
Fair
to leave
enough.
things in a certain bed and breakfast in Boston by mistake.
Oh my lord! All right, so we're gonna back the camera up. All I'm saying is, if you say to her, "We've had a great time, Sheila. How you feeling?" "Oh, great. I've really enjoyed our time together." "How do you feel about a wet bandit?" No one's saying that to anybody ever. Nobody.
No, that's not how you.
No,
that
but
would
that's
be-
not how
that's
you
not how
use
you
it.
use
It's not a move. It's a state of leaving.
It's a description of someone. You know how like he's a real close talker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like a that guy is Judge Reinhold. He's a close talker.
yeah.
No,
You'd
to
say,
me, No, I get it.
It's like calling someone a slob. They made a mess and then
Yeah.
they left without cleaning up. That's it.
Yeah,
all it
it's
is.
more that it's left there that there was no cleanup.
Okay, fair enough. That's a fair point.
You
Yeah.
didn't perform a slob. You just hung out with one.
All right,
think
but you
you
can
can.
perform.
No,
But
it's
you could perform a
confusing all
Cleveland.
of us.
You could perform a Cleveland steamer, right?
I think so.
And
Yeah, yeah.
please never do, but you could. And the point is that when you did, I have always been
But no
curious
one would
about
ever
this.
say Scott's such a Cleveland steamer.
No, I know.
well,
That's
maybe
what I'm saying.
Carter would because she likes to diss you.
No. I understand completely what you're saying, and I agree with that. What I'm saying is, this is a whole separate curiosity of mine. Anybody who's been
Yeah.
with somebody long enough, you have to ask this question: what is the decorum where you suddenly it comes up? You're at dinner, you're candlelight, you got beautiful pheasant under glass, everyone's having the best day of their thing, and you lean over to your significant other and go, "So I was thinking maybe tonight the Cleveland steamer might be fun." You know what I mean? No one does. Who does that?
No, I don't. I
Well,
don't.
they meet up on Discord now.
Well, someone does that. Wait a second. So someone definitely does it because I've learned some other things that happen.
Oh gosh.
So and the other things are way worse than a Cleveland steamer.
worse.
So Cleveland's, oh yeah, way worse.
All right.
Don't let.
Do you want to know?
No,
I'll type
no.
in
Let
Discord.
Scott, just
I don't-
let Scott live in his world where Cleveland steamer is the pinnacle of grossness.
It is not. It is not.
All right. I don't want to know what's worse.
Cleveland steamer is like dying and going to heaven, and like you just be like, oh, this is so clean.
Whoa. Really?
So you'd be like, this is clean.
That's a part of the internet I just have never been to. I just don't know what's worse. I don't want to know though. Don't tell me. I don't want to know.
I
I
mean,
think
I don't
a lot of
go
people
in the
discover
rooms, but
things.
I look
by
in the window.
accident. I think there's a lot of oops, something happened, and then a month later, hey, remember when that thing happened?
Yeah, but here's what. Okay,
Were
Tezzeret
you
Dynamite.
into it?
Tezzeret Dynamite. I'm going to take him to task. He says Scott has limited creativity when it comes to sexy times. I'm sorry, but saying I won't do a Cleveland steamer or I think that's gross is not creatively limiting. All right.
No. He's saying the potential of what people can do is maybe like, do you want me to tell you?
No.
He said no.
No.
So there you go.
No.
So don't worry about it.
I don't want to know.
It's not a creativity thing. It's just some people don't want to know that stuff, and if you don't have consent, then just leave them alone.
I have a friend who works as an ER doctor, and he has described some of the worst things up people's butts. Like,
yeah, I tell you about the police guy that a friend coworker that I had who said they used a fish in a butthole, and the problem with the fish in the butthole is that going in it's fine, but it has scales, so when you pull it out, it rips you rip everything out. And he got called onto site to deal with that.
oh my gosh, dude. That's horrid.
That's what he told me. I mean, I can't tell if people are making things up. I didn't validate the story, nor did I try it myself.
Can you
But
picture somebody yanking?
You weren't like, how hard is it to get a fish out?
Can you see a guy, just picture a doctor, an ER doctor, or like a medic yanking on the tail of a fish, and the guy going, no, not that direction. It's like
I think you gotta cut it in half.
Oh my
if I was
Lord.
me, I'd cut it in half, and then you gotta empty so that you deflate the thing, and then gently pull it out.
Oh gosh.
But he didn't go that far. He was just the first responder on the issue. He's like, he's a cop. He's not a doctor. He's like, well, I can't shoot it. Like,
The first responder, what did they contribute? They went, yep, that's a fish.
Yeah, that's a fish.
that's it. That's
it
what
looks
they
fun
did.
going in. Doesn't look fun coming out.
No,
Sorry, buddy.
may just go all the rest of the way. Shove that fish till you hork it up, till you barf it. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
keep pushing.
Anyways,
Back
fish,
to the point.
turtles.
Yeah, these are all
Anyway,
gross
Hitman.
things. And Hitman's great. You can throw fish at people. Actually, I did that once.
Can you kill people by butt?
No,
Butt
but you
fish.
can, not by butt fishing, but you can knock them out and then go snap their neck.
Butt fishing.
By butt fish. It's so good though, you guys. This game is amazing. I can't wait to play more of it. I'm gonna play some tonight. It's just
I
such
don't
a
know.
great game.
Buttfish could happen in Hitman. There are some weird kills
Yeah.
in Hitman.
You sure about
like
that?
like some of the I don't know if you've ever done them, Scott, but like one of the mini games of Hitman isn't just to eliminate your target, but it's to eliminate your target in very specific ways.
Right.
I know one of the maps, and I don't know if I was ever successful at doing it, is you kill somebody by making them do DDR, and they have
Oh.
a heart attack doing it,
Really?
and they die. And
Yeah.
you have to set up all these intricate little steps to make the DDR machine kill them, but you can do it. I know that there's a golf pro that you can get by he hits an exploding golf ball.
Yeah.
Like they put in all sorts of weird crap in the like creative deaths. So death by fish up the butt is not.
It's not
I
that
wouldn't
far
say
off.
it's off the table.
Yeah, you might be right. I will, and that reminds me. I'm glad you said that because in all of my 3 purchases of this game, I have killed the same people in wildly different ways without even meaning to. Like, and that's just me not even trying to be weird about it. Like the lady I killed in this first level, the first time was just like, oh, I got her alone, put 2 gunshots to the back, lay her on the ground, and hide the body. Like that was it. This next time, I went through a whole elaborate thing, getting her up to a certain room. She's in there with her bodyguard. The bodyguard looks away. I kill her a different way. Third time, totally other different way of killing her. She electrocuted herself on a wet cord that was laying outside. Like that's what I love about it. Nothing.
Oh, chat's right. You can kill people with a fish because you can poison people with puffer fish.
Yeah, but not up through their butts.
Well,
Right.
it gets there. If they
I mean,
eat it, it's
That's-
getting to the
it's
butt.
getting there. You're not
eventually.
wrong, but
that's down through the butt, not up through the butt.
yeah.
that's
And I'm
true.
not walking up in my little police uniform and shoving a fish up someone's butt. That isn't happening in the game. Anyway, it's so good. I can't
That's
stop
probably a
playing it.
problematic thing. I'm sure they have to draw a line somewhere on like sexual assault in those games.
You probably would. You're not wrong.
Yeah, it's probably I hate to be a party pooper, but yeah, maybe.
I also
You
played.
can kill
not
them,
cool.
but they need to not be violated before you commit the murder. please,
Correct.
sir.
That is
You're a
correct.
classy hitman.
My favorite kill so far actually was a very simple one, but I loved the serendipity of it. It was me upstairs in the recording area of that hotel they took over for that rich kid who's also trying to have a band. Forgot the name of that mission. But he's the only one left, and he's up there walking around, and the place is a mess. His bandmates are sleeping everywhere, and engineers are all like, they look like a billion ways to kill him. But finally I'm like, what if I just stand in his recording booth and wait for him to walk over here and see if he just comes in to get. He comes in, doesn't see me in the corner, shuts the door, and he goes, all right, we're going to take it from the top, puts his headphones on, leans into the mic, shank, right in the back, dead, done. Get out of there. No one saw it because he's in this dark little booth. It's fantastic. Such a great feeling.
My favorite item in the game is the circumcision knife.
Ooh, I haven't used one of those yet.
What? There's a bris knife?
Yeah. It's called the circumcision knife. You can find it in a little, like, I don't know, it looks like a museum. It's like an ancient circumcision knife, and you can carry it around and you can stab people.
Are you have to be a moil? You dress like a moil to do it, or you just can use it?
No, you can stab anybody with a circumcision knife.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll get in trouble for it. It's not allowed.
No, they aren't happy about it. No.
You gotta be ready for the consequences, but yeah, it's one of the items in the game.
I've also learned a lot about how much you can get away with. Like sometimes if you get someone witnesses a crime, just get out of there really quick as fast as you can. They'll stop looking for you. You'll still be suspect to a bunch of people who saw it, but only to them because no one ever found any evidence that you were there. So there's a lot of times in that game where I was always like, well, I'm stuck. I can't get out of this. And the game's really good at making your brain like think past the normal, think past what you can see in the room, and think more about what are my potentials here? What can I actually get away with? It's so good. Hot damn, that game's good. Anyway, I'd get it now while it's on sale if you've never picked it up, everybody, because you will pay less than you would for Hitman 3 by itself, and you'll get all of that stuff together right now, and that new mode is amazing. So
I just want to give a quick interruption to the program because Kelnaz in the chat says he's a retired corrections officer in a state prison.
Mm-hmm.
Got lots of interesting orifice stories.
Oh, Lord.
You know, Scott's always asking for voicemails. Just saying.
Yeah, we are. 801.
Just want to throw that out there. If you got an interesting story to share, we can't guarantee. I guess we'll have to vet it, but you know, we have a voicemail for a reason. Maybe if you got a funny one,
send it in 801-471-0462, and I would be happy to hear these stories. Yeah, let's do it.
Turns out that was the very first thing. 10 hams up the butt.
They got a guy in the station and lockup with 10 hams up his butt. That'd be the worst.
Oh my gosh, 10 hams.
Little hams. All right. I also played Demio PC version of that game on my Steam Deck because I didn't know it had Steam Deck support, and it turns out that is a real addictive thing to be doing at night. Playing Demio.
I feel like that game's devolving.
It's turning
into off as a VR, and then it's PC, and now it's a Steam Deck, and I'm like, well,
here's what's funny about that game. Well, I mean, I think that's an easy answer, Bo. They want to go where the money is, and the money is not yet in VR, so they got to expand. But here's the thing: I was playing like randos, just progressing and playing with rando people, and there's like 4 new classes. I forgot to tell you, a whole bunch of new stuff. There's a barbarian. It's got this like chain pull thing. There's other dudes. I forgot what they all are. Anyway, when I got into these games, it was always a mix of VR and not VR. So there was like 2 guys I could see their big VR hands moving around up top, and everyone else was on PC. And then the next game, it was like 3 of the guys were on VR and 2 of us weren't. And the next one, most of us weren't.
You can see their hands on the flat screen doing stuff.
Yeah, they're up there floating around. You can tell. You get the same essential experience.
I never tried it on PC, so I don't know how it looks. Yeah.
Yeah, and the controller support is extremely good.
No one was like scratching their butt clearly or something like that. The hand goes back and
No, but I could tell they were mad at me because I got one of those bad rolls where I got the skull and you spin around and then I hit him all in the face with my magic. I felt bad about that, but I can't control that. That was just
that's not your fault.
No, that's just luck of the draw. But the game continues to be great. Love it on Steam Deck. I'm surprised how well it plays there, and I will continue to do that. And then today I cracked open a new game that I'm not very far in. The game is called Potion Permit.
Whoa, another horticulture game?
I'm going to call this week's this.
Work harder!
It's definitely a chore core in the sense that it's Stardew Valley style, but you're making potions for people. So instead of the work being farms and all that, you've got a place you're trying to fix up that used to be a really fancy magical place. And now that you're there and you got to fix it all up and everything and work with the townspeople, you got to go forage for certain things, certain ingredients, bring them back, build potions out of them, sell those potions, do quests that need potions, that sort of thing. Right now, I'm trying to help the mayor's wife or mayor's daughter is dying, so I'm trying to build a
What about
potion
the
for them.
mayor's wife?
Yep.
How are you helping her with a potion?
It's a really good one of these, like I think anyway. I think the graphics are really great and might be the high point of the game. But yeah, I'm very early, so I don't have a ton to say. I'll probably bring it up next week when I've had some more time with it. But it's on sale right now, and I wanted to see. I want to see how that game was for a while now. So and I did like you, Bo. I went and cleared out most of my old. I was never going to play it anyway. Wish list, like you did last week.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I went from 300.
I guess it's my turn. I guess I got to do
Get
it.
on that, John. It was like 312, and now it's down to like one.
312. You don't have time for all of it.
No, I know.
You got to reduce.
I'm still down to.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
I'm like 160 something, about half of which are unreleased. So I want to get notified when those hit, so I can see if they were worth.
I mean, I added 3 today. It's gonna climb back up. You just got to spring cleaning.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna remove a bunch of stuff from this, and then Valve is gonna decide to bring back that thing where they buy your wish list, and I'll be sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happened. I cleared my wish list just before that happened.
Really? I didn't know that. Was that a thing?
Yeah, they were surprised. They gave away like once a day or something like that. They'll buy so many people their wish list.
Their whole wish list? Oh my lord.
Yeah.
Well, I got rid of stuff I just didn't want to play.
I don't know if they'll ever do that again though. Maybe it was expensive.
That was in the early days of Steam, where wish lists could only be so.
I haven't seen that in a while, but I remember I cleared up a wish list before that happened. I was like, damn, you could get so much.
Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing. 350 games or whatever it was, but I already have 2,000 I'm not playing. So
again, it doesn't matter whether you own them or not. Like with what time?
Yeah.
Like 350 games.
Yeah.
That's a game a day in a calendar year,
It's a lot. And I know I didn't go into too much of what Demio is, but I would recommend going looking at that. My 3 games today were World of Assassination, Demio PC, and Potion Permit. And then, of course, Dead Space. John, let's talk about Final Fantasy 14 housing. You're in it to win it now.
Well, I got to update because, as you may remember from last week, I was trying to get a house in Final Fantasy 14. We talked a little bit about it, about how difficult it is. And I said I'd keep everybody posted. I had bid on a plot of land. I was currently the only bid on that plot of land, and I was excited. Somebody else wound up bidding, so I had a 50-50 chance of getting it. And the day came. It was this past Sunday. I logged in, excited to find out if I had won a house. I walked over to the board. Nobody had built anything yet, which is a good sign that maybe I might have won it because nobody had claimed it yet. And clicked the sign, and it said, "Congratulations, you won the plot. You've done it. Are you ready to claim this house?" And I went, "Yes, did it."
Wow.
And I clicked it.
Yeah.
I noticed some weird text popping up that I didn't. It just felt. I was like, "Okay, yeah, I get it. Let me claim my house. Whatever. Let me claim it."
Oh, shit.
Well, both of you have played Final Fantasy XIV, and I
Sure.
think you guys understand that it's a game where reading is a fundamentally important skill. So you might assume that I would be good at reading. And turns out that I'm not. Turns out that I'm not good at reading at all, because one little detail I missed when I bid for my house was that it was a plot for free companies only, not for individual people. So when I won this plot, I won it for our guild, which they don't need or want or are interested in. And
so you bought an office complex instead of a condo. Like you just got confused.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And not only that, but my company was like, "Thank you, we're not looking."
Oh, man.
Now there's a couple extra sad bits to this. So not only does it mean no house for me.
Yeah.
I was able to today get the refund, because you have to wait until it clears, until it goes into not claimed. But because you bid and didn't claim property, Final Fantasy does penalize you for this. This is one of the ways that they try to prevent people from just bidding for whatever reason and not claiming houses and tying up the lottery or griefing, because you could very easily grief people trying to get houses by going and bidding and going, ha, I made it so they couldn't win.
Yeah.
They keep 50% of your bid deposit if you do not claim the house that you won.
Oof.
which means I spent
Oh no.
1,500,000 gil to find out that I should read more carefully when I do things in
Oh my
video
gosh.
games.
Your heart was in the right place. You wanted a house.
Yeah.
And that's a ripoff. Can you apply for a refund? Is there a Better Business Bureau in?
I don't think so. I think
you meant to buy it for yourself. Yeah, you didn't, do it clearly, but it's fake money. Like it's not, maybe they could maybe a GM could like reverse it for you. Like
I don't know. I'm not gonna worry too much about it. It's I can make that money back. It's fine. I did bid on a new plot. I carefully read this time. I am back in the running. We'll be back here next week, where I tell you whether or not I won the new house bid. So the saga continues.
You've graduated from the game and become an adult, and now are looking at buying real estate and settling down with family.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
I mean, I am still playing the game in general, but this is the big thing that's appealing and interesting to me right now in the game is getting a home and doing all of that. And it's fun. And yeah, I learned that it turns out it's important to read. Not only that, but it's a lesson I nearly didn't learn twice, because that unimportant or seemingly unimportant text that I said I was clicking through was asking if I wanted to move the free company house to this location and relocate everybody there, and I said yes to it. Now the good news is it didn't let me do it because it was trying to take something from a bigger plot of land to a smaller plot of land, and it went no. Do you know how much trouble I would have been in if I denied our guild its guild house that everybody's so happy that we got? And I was just like, nah, sorry guys. We're not
Sounds like
doing
the
that.
beginning of a great tale, because maybe it was accidental, but then you could become the big villain of the server.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how it works. I would just have to be a villain from now on. Garrett and Kyle would have been pissed at me. I would have been in trouble with them because it's their guild.
Yeah.
I would have just been
you're
no
in the
good.
grinding. Oh
Yeah,
shit!
you're
It
in
would
there.
have been no good at all. Yes.
Yeah, I kind of wish it happened. Now it would have been perfect. That you would have been the villain of John
Yep.
the Destroyer.
We would have gotten more like look at core sabotage grinding gear. Look at what they did. They destroyed the guild house. It would have.
It'd be
really
kind of
kept
sweet if
things
they could
going.
engineer it so that you could show up in their raids.
Scott,
and
why
as
the
a-
hell
as
are
an
you
extra villain.
showing a different game?
Because ESO
over
housing
my
looks
Final
cool.
Fantasy discussion.
Because
Was that ESO he's showing?
Yes, ESO
Yes.
housing is cool, and I wanted to show it. And before this, I showed a whole video of a Final Fantasy lady doing Final Fantasy shit. So we're just giving a little time to our friends at Elder Scrolls Online.
We don't need to give them a little time. They're fine.
Yeah.
And they're also not being discussed.
Yeah, well, I was about to. I just wanted to say, because of your talk about housing, I decided to go fiddle around with some of that. This is not mine. Somebody else has got a lot of stuff I don't have, but it's actually not bad. It's pretty fun. It's a fun little thing.
So you're building the house too?
Yeah, I'm building a little house. Well, it's more of a, I don't know. It's not like this castle this person's got, but I've got kind of a
Scott
grotto.
needs a guild, and then can you spot him for a house? So he can have one?
I don't think it works like that. Although there is guild housing, and I don't know how that works, but I think I can. You just buy a house. You have the gold. Yes. Okay, I'm buying it. I now own it. There's no bidding or any of that stuff, which may or may not be as fun. I don't know, but
Well, Black Desert's like that. Like everyone owns the same house. It's just instanced for you. That
Yeah.
kind of thing.
yeah. Well, John, let us know next week. You're going to let us know if you got it, and
Yeah,
know?
I'll let you know. I will read this text that you put in here though. I guess we got a text about housing, and I was gonna bring this up because I was a little unclear as to what happened to maintain home ownership, and I thought, well, maybe you have to pay like a tax or something. You don't. So Tentacle Time Eternal gave us some clarification, and they said after buying your house, you have to have your character physically enter your house at least once every 30 days. It resets the timer before you just lose the house, or you just lose the house. They do this because they don't want people just buying houses and disappearing for a few years or sitting on that plot. It does mean, unfortunately, don't take a 3-week vacation to Japan or somewhere without some means to log in. But there's the info. The demolition timer does not count towards apartments or free company
Oh
rooms.
my god! What we don't want those. What like how many like megabytes? Of
well, it's because it's
data?
actual real estate, right? Like it's
Yeah,
Yeah, but
I mean,
it's instanced to you, right? So if you're not in it, just don't open it.
Is it though?
Don't
I thought
instance
outside of it, it wasn't instanced.
It's not. It's only the inside is instanced.
Yeah. So you got neighborhoods that are actually plotted out on land that is valuable,
it.
whereas ESO and others, you just buy the shit and everyone goes to the same.
I mean, that's like
entrance.
the same shit in real life where it's like, make sure to mow your lawn, or the housing association will be after. Except
I
this
mean,
version is
it
make
is
sure you're
tricky.
providing player population for others to enjoy the neighborhood.
It is tricky with Final Fantasy because a lot of things
Crazy.
and features in there are tied to its original initial launch.
Yeah.
Where they say like, yeah, we know this isn't ideal. This is the system we have. These are the means we have to work within. Like they have said so many times, because everybody goes, your game is more about fashion than even WoW, and yet WoW has a better transmog system than you guys. What's
Yeah.
up with that? And they're like, yeah, we wish we had WoW's transmog system. We literally can't do it with the code that we have. We want to. It doesn't work that way. We're doing our best to try and improve it. Is basically their take on it, and slowly they have. It's gotten better, but they've basically said anybody that's hoping for what WoW has just transplanted into Final Fantasy, they're like, it doesn't work that way. And I suspect this is the case with housing as well.
Yeah.
I hate, given that I've been game programming for all of 1 week.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Let's hear from a professional.
I feel like that's some horse shit right there. Pretty much.
I don't
They
think
probably,
it's horse shit.
They need to pay labor. Someone needs to solve the problem.
Well, they could. Like, there's no
every
reason.
item has a probably an identifying ID and then an ID, and then they just need to mark it with a different visual. Like under the hood, maybe it's spaghetti code and it's a disaster down there, and that's why it's hard. But yeah, it just seems like it's not that hard.
I'll have Yoshi P. He's
he'll
a close
get in
personal
touch.
friend. I'll have him call you, Bo. He
might listen.
He probably needs to hear from your expertise. 'cause
Yeah.
I
I'm
think
sure
it's the only. I think
their
he
team
must
of
listen.
programmers can't figure this out, but they'll.
Here's
I feel like
Here's
we're,
what I
we're
know.
the only show that tells him not to hurt himself.
Oh, that's
my
true.
God.
We are the
I'll
only
be
one.
like, Yoshi P, let me hook you up with a guy who could make Vampire Survivors in an hour. He'll fix your housing problem real quick.
Here's what I know for sure. I know that it's more complicated than that. It always is. And if you talk
How mad would John be if I went to go work with Yoshi P? Like I said, that actually worked, and I'm like, guess what, guys? I can still do core, but I'm going to work for Yoshi P on Final Fantasy. John would be like,
yeah, but here's what would happen. You would get there and realize you'd get there and see the spaghetti code and go, oh, okay, yeah, this is a mess. I can't do that. Like I don't. There's no way it's that simple.
I wouldn't be able to tell. I'd be like, okay, yeah, sure.
I'll be
fix
your reference, man. Put me down. I'll be like, he could make Vampire Survivors in a couple hours. He thinks Elden Ring is really easy. What more do you need to know about this guy?
And you guys are being crybabies about a transmog.
Do you have any lakes adjacent to your office?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And then for real this time, Yoshi P is gonna finish himself. It won't get delivered on time, and he'll be like, "That's it. Time for seppuku."
That was the reason for 8 more apology videos.
Yep. 8 more apologies, and then he kneels down with the knife, and that's
I'm really
the end of
sorry.
that.
We hired Bo. He is a man without honor. It was a big mistake.
It's an interesting concept, though. Like, WoW has similar answers when you say, "Where's your housing system?" or "Where's your insert system here?" and they are either like, well, that's 5 years of development, or we don't see the value for the 5 years of development. Like, that's where it's complicated. Could they revamp the whole thing and make it? Yes. Are they willing to eat that? Probably not. They're not going to get a big swell of new users because they went and changed it so John doesn't have to wait
I'm
for a
just
bid.
saying, if Blizzard came forward and was like, sorry guys, we can't do a transmog system, the player base would be like, dumping on them, right? But you Final Fantasy players are so nice to your developers.
well, we'll get to it. Not always. We'll get there. It's in other news.
I saw on the Grinding Gear podcast they were saying Final Fantasy 14 drama.
Yeah, there's some drama.
You got
we'll
some
talk
juicy.
about it.
Hey, don't give those guys free advertising. They can advertise their own damn podcast about video games. Take that, friends of ours who we like, and I'm just teasing, and I take it all back. Their show's
but it's
good.
more of like a Final Fantasy and Friends kind of deal.
No, that's
We're
true.
more like
FF&F.
Or
Urban
more like
Dictionary
Friends and sometimes Final Fantasy. Also,
Urban Dictionary / video games.
who's pooping where?
Yeah, we're covering the whole gamut here. Let's
Who's
move on
pooping where
to
and video games.
Bo. Speaking of this stuff, this Godot thing, there's a new game. Well, I tagged you on Twitter. I'm not sure you saw it. But
Yeah, I saw
that looked
I
awesome.
liked it. I didn't have much to say because there's lots of games made with it, but it is yes, really good.
It looked really good. Anyway, so tell us what's the progress. What are you doing in there?
Oh, like I don't have any show and tell today.
No.
So whatever Scott's showing it again is not.
No.
Showing
this-
Elder Scrolls Online.
No, I'm not. This is somebody's doing an open
Someone's
world
showing
game.
their mesh, their environment mesh.
Yeah, and he's making an open world action game, and he's showing off his mesh for his world, and I didn't even
that's
know
great.
this engine could do this shit. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, Godot 4 is going to have Vulkan, which, depending on which Godot nerd you talk to, is either amazing or is not really going to solve Godot's underlying problems. Blah 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 blah. But for me, so I've exhausted the free stuff on the Godot docs in terms of the GD script and learning about the nodes. And there's actually some pretty good creators out there, and one of them has a full tutorial site. So I dropped 80 bones on some tutorial materials, and I've been going through the lessons. So I don't really have much to show or to discuss because it's really just I did a lot of UI business, and I'm learning about dictionaries like data store types that haven't worked with much and how to manipulate them in a video game context. But I did a dialogue tree and did some voice and just been working on my lessons. Really, what I sort of realized, I wanted to go out and do something crazy, but I need more foundational knowledge so that when I game development being pretty much problem solving, probably all programming is that. Knowing what tools are available is just important. So I've just been kind of going through and the lessons and just gathering knowledge and not really, people are like, what game you making? Or, what do you want to do with it? And it's like, it's way too far ahead of where I'm at. I think realistically, it's just practice so that I understand. And it's coming along, there's vector types and that I have to get my head around, which I think I have. And there's, referencing other this is all I could talk about it, but it's like, what are you talking about? But referencing other nodes and scenes using variables and then manipulating it in the array of the dictionary is kind of what I've been focusing on. So it's just Dead Space Remake kind of got in the way. I was kind of hoping, because as I do the lessons, I'm like, let me just make my own shit for fun and have something fun to show on the show.
Yeah.
But didn't have time. So
Well, I can't wait to see what comes out of it. I love this kind of stuff. So
I mean, it's been interesting. It's kind of like its own video game in a weird way where, it's just, but it's like a learning thing. I don't know. I've just been enjoying it. It's been refreshing. I've been having a hard time with drama YouTube. And it's the past couple of months play a game and put on some sort of stream that tells me stuff. And I'm just like, why do I know this stuff? I don't care. So it's been kind of nice to just sort of bury my head in something creative and fulfilling.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Well, can't wait to see the results, and always good to learn new things anyway.
I'll be updating every week so long as I keep, so long as it remains within the field of interest. I don't know if in 3 weeks' time it's going to be whatever, but I'm enjoying it so far.
What if you're working away and you're like, oh man, I just figured out how to solve Final Fantasy's stupid housing issue. What if it comes from this? And
It might.
you
We're
never
seeing
know.
the future.
Yeah. Gal Gadot, or sorry, Gadot.
Well, I mean, it's the transmog issue we were talking about. I don't know how to solve their housing problem. It sounds like that's more of an economy thing than anything else.
yeah.
You could just instance the housing instead of the neighborhood. Problem solved.
Transmog took a long time for Blizzard to do. I wonder what held them back so long, because that took forever.
I remember Greg Street talking about it, and he was there when they implemented it, and I remember him saying they were shocked that it was popular.
Yeah, they didn't know people were going to be into that dress.
I was shocked that they were shocked.
Yeah.
I think Greg Street is awesome. He's a very nice, smart person, but we were surprised that people want to change how they look in the video game and might want to have some onus on their character in this role-playing game. It's like, you think?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is the
That surprised
What?
me as well. I remember that as
Like,
well.
you guys were shocked by this,
Yeah.
really.
To me, it's akin to them being shocked that people want to play classic. Like, of course, there were people that wanted to do that. It's not everybody, but there were people, and it's not everybody who cares about transmog, but a lot do. And their system's really good. Their transmog system's great.
It is second to none.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't played every game ever, but I don't know of a single game that does it
It's
better.
very, very simple. And they just added, was it this most recent patch? I got to go look. They added
Isn't
two
there a
things.
Trading post.
Yeah, they added Trading Post, which is a ton of, it's focused on cosmetics. But also they added whites and what's the other color of gear that's not good? Grays, I guess.
Gray
Whites and grays.
green.
Or greens, maybe that's it. Anyway, stuff you couldn't transmog before is now transmogable, so they've gone even further with this latest patch. I have
You
not
can just
messed with
make
it this
yourself
week.
look however you want at this point.
Yeah,
Which is probably fine. It's
I
an
do-
MMO. Why wouldn't you?
I do wish it cost less gold every time you wanted to do it, though.
I mean, that's the beauty about when it's the transmog competition. They make it all free. They should just make it free.
Just
all the
make it
time.
free, yeah. Or just
Or put in a gold sink that, like a big gold sink that lets you do it for free, like on a mount or.
Oh, I
someplace.
see. Yeah, that's good.
You know,
I'd do
something
that.
like that.
Yeah,
but-
pay
How
once
about
and
you
never
get
worry
a
about
pass?
it.
We pay one gold sync pass for 30 days of free transmog.
Oh no, don't do
I mean,
it.
I
Subscription.
think the only negative side to WoW's transmog is just how ugly armor in WoW is.
This sounds like a Final Fantasy expat or somebody who left for greener pastures.
Yeah, and you know what? It's really true. Like, not to say that you can't make yourself look good in WoW, but like outside of shoulder pads and hats, you are wearing something that is basically and belts, because now they've got dangly bits in front of your crotch as
Yeah.
a new technology.
That's true.
But like, you basically have something plastered to your body, skin tight, that they've just done various different levels of pretending that there's armor there. Like, I really would love, you want to get me back in WoW, come up with a way to make armor look interesting and cool again, and I will
Well,
sign me up.
my guess is one of those
Needs to
things
be
they would
WoW
have to go through the spaghetti of code and revamp a ton of things to make that work. But I wouldn't mind it. I'd be great. I'd take it. I'm sure the stuff's on some wall on some whiteboard somewhere, and they just
Yeah.
like it's way down the list. But
It's on the WoW 2 whiteboard.
Yeah.
The sequel to World of Warcraft, the
Yep.
new MMO, and Unreal Engine 5. It's coming.
yep,
Oh man.
It's right there in that office.
you guys
I'm
heard
trying
it
to
here
read Scott's
first.
face to see if I'm like.
Yeah, it's
Warm.
just test him.
No.
What did Chris tell you?
I
about
bet
the-
he would.
the
If that was
Warcraft
true,
franchise, Scott.
if that was true, it'd probably I can't imagine him ever telling me that. We have a lot of trust between us, but I just can't imagine he would.
He's
dare
like,
say
I've heard
it.
Scott say no spoilers and then spoil something immediately. I'm not gonna
done
tell
it.
him about it.
I've done it before. I've
Well,
been really
Scott's
good.
Scott is good about these things.
I tend to be
actually.
like in his case when he was coming back to Blizzard. I knew about it for 3 months before anyone else knew, and I kept that a big damn fat secret the whole time.
Yeah,
Yep.
Scott's good about these things.
But
Just,
I still don't trust myself sometimes that I might slip it, and I would feel
it's
really
with his
bad.
it's with his own things or with like things that aren't that important. Like
Right.
you know, if I maybe told Scott I got chapped lips and was embarrassed about it, I'd be like, "How's those chapped lips?" You know, like
Yeah, and then you'd be like,
That's
Scott,
what it
I
is.
told you not to say it. Yeah.
yeah. But nothing actually like he's got good judgment. Is what I'm trying to say.
I'm glad to hear.
You got good judgment, Scott.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. We're going to take a break. When we come back, it's going to be time to rip through some other news. We got a Dear Martha all queued up. We got some voicemails, a great mashup, some other cool stuff. So stick around, go pee, whatever you got to do, and we'll be
Oh
back
yeah.
in a minute.
By the way, the Dead Space remake draw, right,
Yeah.
for the listeners,
Oh,
because
yeah.
we got a lot of people in there. Stick around.
Stick around. You're going to get a free copy
Like-
of Dead Space potentially at the end of the thing. Not everybody gets one. One of you does. But if you want to be counted among the possible winners, stay tuned. All right. I'm going to go pee.
Microphone. That's amazing.
Baby canceling microphone. That's amazing. All right. I'm going to kick it off here. All right, everybody. We're back. Thanks for hanging in there with us. And now we're going to dive into Dear Martha. If you've never heard of the Dear Martha before, I mean, it's gone through some changes in its lifetime. But right now, it's this amazing review of old magazines. And, John, we're just going to go for it unless you have anything special you need to do here.
Nope, nothing special this week.
All right, here we go.
My dearest Martha, I write to you this week about GamePro. I just want to say that up front. Not a teenager's wet dream of a magazine, not a Canadian bit, not some obscure mini magazine, but the well-known and respected GamePro. Specifically, issue 119 from August of 1998. An issue that features a very real image of Stone Cold Steve Austin, clotheslining a very fake depiction of The Rock. I guess that's because the real Rock is busy, also being on the cover down at the bottom. It's weird, he's on there twice. So, I know I razzed Flux last week for being overly horny, as if the magazine invented the concept in gaming. And I will clarify that it was not just them. This period in gaming leaned quite heavily on the allure of nudity to sell things, and GamePro was no different. In fact, it's literally only page 4 where we see this ad for Turbo Prop Racing, where they decided the best way to sell a boat game was showing it blow the clothes off of attractive beachgoers. Anyway, for this letter, I want to just provide some quotes, observations, or write-ups that haven't aged well or at least amusing to me historically. Let's start with wrestling. GamePro proudly featured an interview with Steve Austin, Triple H, The Rock, Mick Foley, and Chyna. Knowing now that The Rock is one of the biggest actors in the world, though, I found it funny that when they asked him what he'd do if he didn't wrestle, he said, politics. But I think the real star is this answer. GamePro asked the extremely classy to ask about your coworker's question of, who is sexier, Sunny or Sable? The Rock's response was, The Rock feels like this, and you can put this in bold print. The Rock couldn't give 2 pieces of monkey crap about either one of those 2 chicks. And just to be clear, this was actually the classiest answer to that question. Another funny thing was this big write-up about all the hottest games of E3 that year. Obvious top choices like Ocarina of Time and Perfect Dark were listed, but I did get a kick about seeing Superman 64 listed among them. At least they included the line, the gameplay was still early in development. It always will be, GamePro. It always will be. They also wrote a blurb for 12 Tales, Conker's Quest, the game that would go on to be Conker's Bad Fur Day. But at this stage of development, it was described as such a cute action platformer that you may shy away from. How cute? Pour a pound of sugar on Banjo-Kazooie and you get Conker. You know, the game that would later go on to have a big singing piece of shit. The final piece of irony I'd like to point out is their Mortal Kombat 4 strategy write-up, Part 2. That's right, Part 2. You had to do 2 parts to a Mortal Kombat 4 strategy guide. I can give you a Mortal Kombat 4 strategy guide in 5 words. Don't play Mortal Kombat 4. Alright. I feel like I've skipped the ad of the week section too many times. So, before I go, here's this. It's a man playing golf out of his cat's litter box.
Yeah.
And I included it because it made me laugh.
That picture's wild. He's hitting the cat.
The joke isn't great. Easier on your home than the real thing. It's not terrible, but it's not great. There's just something about the look of the cat and the thought of how this all played out that really got to me. Anyway, that's it for this week, Martha. Remember, the real game pros were the friends we made along the way. Yours in time, S. Beckett 98.
Yeah, that cat's really...
That's a wet bandit right there.
Yeah, there you go. That cat's probably named Bandit for all we know. That's amazing. I can't... Who did this game? Hold on. Fox Sports Golf 99. Sports games, Fox Attitude, it says. Yeah, that's lame. All right.
I don't know why that ad got to me, but it's
It's great.
maybe the
He's-
first time looking at video game ads that I started laughing
He's,
just
he's
looking
swat.
at the
He's swatting so powerful in the dirt trap of that is the cat litter that the cat is going crazy. He's getting fired out of there.
Pretty nutty. All right. Well, that's all well and good.
It worked on me. I wasn't sure where you're gonna go with it. Like, whoever laughed at this is an idiot, and I'm like laughing like crazy.
That's
No, I was with you, man. I was with you. I looked at it and it made me laugh.
I kind of want to play that.
And then I had to write why I thought it was funny. I was like, I don't know, it just is. I can't tell you.
What system was this
Something
for? A PlayStation. Okay. I'm curious. I may try to emulate that game and see if it's any good at all. That golf game.
Just because the ad was enjoyable.
Yeah. Let's see if there's a cat I can hit across the world.
It worked on us. They should do more ads with like this, like for World of Warcraft.
This guy's poor
Thrall's just
apartment. Though.
punching a cat out of it.
This guy's poor apartment though. Imagine what his apartment looks like or smells like with all that cat shit everywhere and cat litter.
Yeah,
Gross.
yeah. Like they did a good job with the texture mapping on the kitty litter.
Yeah, they did. Good job, Fox Attitude Sports.
Imagine that with ray tracing.
Oh my lord.
Beef.
Oops, why did it say beef? Anyway, that's not what I was supposed to play. This is supposed to play this. Hey, look at that. It's time for some other news items that happened this week. Not a ton of news like we mentioned, but there's a few things. For example, a new Ultimate comes out of the Final Fantasy 14 War on Mods grows. What does this mean? What is this? Is this the one everyone's freaking out about?
What?
Scott just read it all as a big word jumble. So if you didn't follow that, basically, ultimates are basically the hardest difficulty content in Final Fantasy 14. And as a result, it does tend to appeal to the race to world first players.
Sure.
And as usual, people did it.
Yeah.
They used mods, which are not allowed in Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
Cheating.
Yeah.
And they got in trouble. Yoshi P, usually one for apologies, as Bo likes to point out, wrote a letter saying how deeply disappointed he was in the Final Fantasy 14 community. But I will say what I like about this is the best they've ever done at punishing the behavior. Because not only did the people who modded the game get in trouble,
Yeah.
but even if you were just a part of that run, so you did your job fair and square, but somebody on your raid team modded, they deleted any items you won, they removed any achievements you earned, and undid any quests you completed. And we're like,
Wow.
nope. They reset everybody involved with modding, and they made it clear that this is probably going to be what they will do going forward.
Wow.
Good for them.
Yeah.
This because of the same week that Donkey Kong record holder guy has come up again. Apparently, a
Billy
photo
Mitchell.
surfaced
Yeah.
of the machine he was using, and it's a modded joystick on the machine, allowing for more diagonal movement, which apparently it doesn't have. So even more evidence has come out that I don't know his name, but you can
Billy
tell
Mitchell.
by his
Yeah, the guy from King of Kong.
Yeah, it's Billy.
the
It's
guy's
Billy
got
Mitchell.
his-
Billy Mitchell
Yeah.
was his name.
Billy Mitchell, yes.
Yeah,
Billy
so
Mitchell.
the same week that Billy Mitchell's getting roasted for modded equipment, we're kicking out Final Fantasy wannabe pros.
I have a clip of
using mods.
the reaction from Yoshi P. Do you want to hear it? Is it right here? This is what he said.
Please stop telling me to calm down.
That was him. His English is amazing these days. Really good stuff.
Really good.
Yeah.
He has to keep telling people to stop freaking modding the game
Yeah.
and cheating.
Yeah.
Although, I like mods in general, I sort of appreciate it from the world first perspective, right?
Right. It feels like it should be the
Everyone's-
pure.
If you're not
experience.
modding in World of Warcraft world first, you're doing it wrong. Like
Yeah.
you have to do it. I mean, there's an argument to be made that if you want to play professional hockey, you need professional equipment. Can't go out there with two, cement blocks on, you can't. Any old skates will do. You need proper
Sure.
equipment.
Sure.
But I don't know.
There's something
Well, I'll
about
tell
the
you
purity
one
of it.
major difference about how Final Fantasy does their high difficulty versus what, World of Warcraft and a lot of other games tend to do. Their ultimates are considered extremely hard. Not a lot of people are going to complete them. It is a very long fight, a very elaborate fight, but they have a development team that beats it in-house to confirm that it is achievable, unmodded, by players before that thing goes live. And they bust their ass to do it because they're not pro gamers. They make the game, but that doesn't make them good at it, as
Right.
many developers will tell you. I just made it. And they have to beat it in-house before it goes out to people. And I can see a lot of frustration in we took the time to create this thing, to make sure it was hard, to put in all this effort. We didn't just go, yeah, statistically speaking, we ran a simulator and this is beatable. They had to bust their ass to beat it so that
Well, that
other
seems
people
like
could do it.
Seems like
And
shots
now people
fired
are
at
like,
Ian.
Yeah.
we got to do mods.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a little shots fired.
A little bit.
Take that, Ian.
You say the words, we ran a simulation of the raid to ensure it, and I just immediately picture that face. That beautiful. That's my word association with Ian is the running simulations for raids.
Yep.
Yeah, so then I think then it's understandable that it would feel like cheating if you designed it that way. I wonder how many game delays happened as a result of this testing practice, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question.
They're like, we can't beat it. You're gonna work day and night to beat that raid.
Do you know if the
We'll
Blizzard?
beat it, or
the-
you're not going home. You're not going to see your family till you beat
do, you,
the
do
raid.
you know if Blizzard
Okay,
testers
there's 3
are?
raid teams. Whoever doesn't beat it this week, you're fired.
Yeah. Do you know if Blizzard testers or devs have to beat Mythic stuff? I wonder. I don't know.
I think a lot of that stuff is done. I know that they have worked with like the teams that do Race to World first. So I think there is some in-house testing, but obviously for the race you can't bring in the raid teams that are going to be running it to play the game for you.
No, that's true. Yeah.
I know they do a lot of sim stuff, and I know they've talked to people before. I don't know if they have to do in-house clears or not. But I know they nerf and change bosses in the middle of the Race to World first, which they don't do in Final Fantasy because they know it's beatable. Actually, they have done it, but they've done it because they're just like, yeah, people are having a way too hard time with this. I don't think they do it for Ultimates, but they've done it for Savage.
Sure. I
Oh,
like their
Savage.
name,
Whoa.
Savage. That's cool. I like that.
Savage difficulty.
Savage and Ultimate. What's another one?
all right.
Is there another one, or is it that granular, or is that it? Normal, Savage.
I don't remember all the difficulty names. I'm a scrub. I just play it on normal. I know my limits.
Yeah, you know.
I feel like
you know
mods
what's
are
up.
fine on those difficulties. I just think, yeah, the competitive mode. I don't know. There's a purity to non-mod competition, right? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like no mods in general. I hate maintaining mods. I hate it. It annoys the crap out of me. Japan did a thing on the 26th, actually, or is it the 31st?
The January 31st
Right.
has been
So 2 days ago,
Officially
3 days ago,
declared.
whatever it was, declared Final Fantasy VII Day.
yeah, like recognized by the government, not just like the company saying it's May the 4th. Like
Yeah.
Japan, the country's like January 31st. Y'all are celebrating Final Fantasy 7,
Y'all.
not 8. I better not see anyone out here with no 8 sign. It's
You bring a
7 day.
gunblade to this day, you're in jail. We're gonna jail
Do you think there's anyone over there just freaking out, petitioning the government, going 6 is where it's at? What's this 7 garbage? You know?
They should. 6 is better than 7.
Yeah. Why don't just call it Final Fantasy Day? Just
Because
Final Fantasy.
7 has particular cultural significance over the other games.
Over there or in general?
Well, over there,
Probably in
but
general. I
in
think
general
7's
too.
Yeah.
I just feel
I
like
mean, it is the one remake or re-release that's getting 3 whole games. Like
Well,
Yeah. It has movies.
yeah, that's true.
It's-
No, you're right. You know what? It is the significant one. If you're pulling one out where you're like, that's what people think of, this is the one. As much as people may say 6 or whatever is better as a game.
Yeah. So it's just fun. I kind of want to celebrate that day. I'm just like, what is
I
that?
think
Like,
it's
what do we
great.
do on Final Fantasy 7 Day?
Well, you don't. You
I don't know.
definitely.
They didn't give us a lot to do. We could power wash Midgar. They put
want
power wash
yeah.
DLC in Power Wash Simulator. You can wash Cloud's motorcycle.
I
that
want
you always
materia.
wanted to.
I want there to be like materia candies. Like you keep the Christmas tree up and you hang materia off of it instead of Christmas balls. What are they called?
Christmas balls.
Yeah.
Oh.
They have a name.
Uh,
Christmas balls.
Ornaments. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, ornament.
Show
Okay.
me your Christmas balls.
Show me your
What is
Christmas
this word
balls.
ornament? I've only ever called them Christmas balls.
Oh, that reminds me that weird David Harbour kills everybody John Wick style Santa Claus movie's out now on streaming. I gotta watch
It's great.
Yeah.
I loved that movie. I had a great time with that
that.
movie.
I have a feeling I will really like it. I'm gonna watch it. It feels a little weird watching it outside of the holiday, but I don't know. Not that weird. I'll watch it.
I watched it on Christmas Eve night.
Oh well, then you did the right thing. Me
I was
me
staying
watching
up
it on
late. No, I was like, I'm gonna watch this.
me watching it on the 3rd of February is a little bit weird, but I may still do it. Let's see here. Redfall requires always online and a linked Steam account to even do the single player. So if you were hoping you could play some offline Redfall, bad news. You can't. I don't feel like this
gonna
should
help
shock us.
people think it's something other than a Left 4 Dead style game.
I mean, yeah, good point. Actually, I hadn't thought of it that way. I feel like in 2023, this sort of thing shouldn't surprise us anymore. So many games do this.
This has been a big discussion in our Discord, actually,
no.
and I'll reiterate what I said there to a degree, which is I don't think this makes or breaks anybody's purchase. Like, maybe it's the straw that broke the camel's back, but I don't see anybody that just went, well, I was going to get it, but if I have to always be online, no. I don't think that person exists, but I do think that in general, most people probably don't like this. I think personally, I don't really care, but would I rather a game be able to be played offline, especially single player? Yeah.
Well, bad news on the Hitman front because that freelancer mode, all the other modes are fine, but the freelancer mode requires an online connection.
And that's the thing. It's not going to stop me from playing it. It's not going to stop me from enjoying it. So it's not a deal breaker for me, but it is a little weird. The Steam account is odd because that's going to be a Game Pass game. We do know that apparently getting Steam and Game Pass to work together is a bit of a feat. From, Bo and I did the Cowabunga collection together, and that was a journey. There are some games, why can't I think of it? Dark Tide.
Dark Tide. Yeah, Dark Tide
doesn't currently allow for it at all and has said we don't know if it's ever going to happen. So maybe this is tied into that. Maybe this is a requirement to allow that to happen because they're like, look, we just got to find a way to make it work. But I don't know.
Keep
But
in mind, they're
needing
only
a
saying if
Steam-linked
you're
account is odd.
right, but you have to. If I'm playing this on a Series X, do I have to have a Steam linked account?
No, but if you're on PC, you do.
But if I'm playing on Game Pass PC, I have to link it to Steam. That's probably why, because they want crossplay there. There's something there about that.
They got, we should probably get our pro developer Bo over there to explain on a better way to do this, because it does seem a little weird that this is the solution they have, and I would think that there would be a better way to make it work. But
easier, yeah.
I that's my best guess as to why that's a requirement.
Yeah. The internet connection part is annoying, but a thing I've come to not since Diablo 2 was the great freak out, or 3 rather, was the great freak out of all time about online all the time. Like, that just seemed insane to people back then because nobody else was really doing this shit. Now they all kind of do it, so it's not that big a deal. It's okay. And by the way, if you turn off online mode, well, here's the other thing. I was having trouble staying online because the Hitman servers are getting hammered because everyone's buying this thing and getting excited about this new mode, and it was causing disconnects. That's when I have a problem, because that's not my fault. It's not even my ISP's fault. It's their servers can't handle it. So I don't think I should be punished for that. That's where I have an issue. And the same is true as if, Blizzard, when Blizzard was having their problems with Diablo 3 servers on day one, that was a Blizzard problem, not mine. And it was annoying.
They don't bring those characters back to life if you're playing on hardcore mode.
Oh my gosh,
so
dude. Yep.
It needs to work. It's sort of like the Fortnite events. I think limited time events are cool, but you need to be able to engage in them. If you can't allow for that, then it is a bad idea to do limited time events. If you can't let your player base all do it and experience it. So it would be the same principle. Always online is fine as long as it works. And when it doesn't work, which is often, then it's a problem.
Especially for a single player game where what do you need the online connection for? if it's to back up your saves or send your saves or to send your stats because you did good in freelancer mode, I'm still thinking of Hitman here, or whatever game, do that between, upload them when you need to upload them, but on all.
It's so you can see the freaky deals we have in the store, Scott.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Amazing deals, updated hourly, that you can spend your real money on.
Yeah.
And to combat piracy.
Oh yeah, that too. That is one other reason.
If your game doesn't function offline, you're combating piracy.
That is mainly what it is,
Pass
isn't it?
game, though. Like, not to say that people are still like not.
Well, those
gonna
are still
pirate a
rippable.
Game
Those
Pass
are still
game,
piratable. Yeah.
Yeah, you can still pirate
Like,
them.
it just seems so weird to me. Like, if somebody wants to play it, they can spend what's Game Pass a month?
14. Well, 9 if you're just doing PC. Yeah.
Like, you can spend that, and people are like, "Nah, that's too much. I better pirate it." And
You know what else is
really
weird?
get in trouble for this thing.
Here's the other weird thing. PS5, 4, Xbox Series, and prior Xbox One versions of Diablo, none of those require an online connection to play at all. And I did never understand it. Why? They're just as piratable, and they have the same content. And yeah, it does upload stuff when you're done and put your scores up or whatever connects to
the
your
console versions.
Yeah, but the console versions are not online. They don't play.
I'm surprised by that.
Only if you're playing with
That's
somebody
weird.
else. So if you're playing with somebody else, yes, you're playing online. But if you're playing a solo,
but that's fine,
run,
right? Like, yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
That makes sense, right? That's
Yeah.
what you do. But if the game is really only ever or when it's only doing a single player kind of thing, don't make us get online. It's freaking stupid. And I don't know why they didn't there. There must have been they probably ran up against some resistance on the console side where they're like, yeah, we don't want our console people to have to keep it.
Most games, like I think Borderlands 3 is playable offline.
Yeah, it
but
is.
if you want to log online, then you can log online, and I think there's a store. There's definitely tell you about the DLC and cosmetics.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the model people should follow.
They should. They should. Instead, they force.
Yeah.
I hate it when they force.
So
it down your throat.
Redfall requires always online and link to a Steam account. This actually seems stupider unless it is a Left 4 Dead game that's only online.
Yeah, which it isn't because they've already said you can play this single player.
Well, that doesn't mean. Depending on how you think of it, I know Diablo 3. Yeah, that's so weird because Diablo. I remember at one point for Diablo 3, they were saying the damage calcs were done server side, not client side.
Yeah, but on the consoles, it's not online all the time. It doesn't make any sense. If they can do it there, I'm not going to say
Power
they
of
made it up.
Xbox, baby.
I'm not going to
Well,
say
that's
they
why.
made it
That's why
up,
more
but
study game development so we can call people out on their dumb bullshit. Though, it's not possible given the scope and size of the game, and it's like 2 months later.
horse shit. That was always horse shit. Like I have a
We
limit.
we can't do transmog. It's too hard, you guys.
I believe that the transmog thing, different animal to me than this. This is usually, if it favors their business model, that's when I question it. It's like, really? It's funny. All these other games that have like random loot, they seem to be able to do it without the damn servers on. That makes no sense.
Yeah, I think there was. If I'm just being generous to Blizzard, I think that was also with the auction house and trying to monetize the item drop economy and prevent shenanigans relating to duping.
Yeah,
and
good
shit like
point.
that.
Yeah.
Like I think there was we need to. People are heavily invested in Blizzard properties, and they're gonna resell, and we need to like do everything we can to control it and have that ball in our court.
Yeah.
Auction house ended up failing, but before I could see the rationale going into it, thinking you need to have it online for that stuff.
Yeah.
Because if it's offline, you just open the save file, right, dupe a bunch of items, then log into your game.
But then you
done.
probably had an engineering nightmare to retrofit it to not need that anymore, or it wasn't worth the cost of doing it. And then when they made controller support for consoles, they never retroactively made that possible on PC for people who wanted to play that way. Again, it's a value proposition. Do we want to dedicate the dev hours to this? Will it actually sell more things? No. The answer is no.
It might not just be the store. It might be your items and cosmetic unlocks. Because one of the things you want to prevent is having a local save file.
Right.
If you have an account, if your save file, which even in World of Warcraft, your character is a save file with its inventory and stuff. If that's local, you can manipulate it. If that's server side and you've got protections in place to keep it from being manipulated.
And of
You know
course,
what I mean?
easier on PC than a hard drive on a console as well. So No
I'm
one's
still not sure. There must be validation checks why even when it's in memory, you couldn't add items to your inventory by writing directly to memory. There's probably a way to prevent that. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. Mostly, I think it's just a poor decision. But a lot of them do it now, and Redfall's doing it. Star Wars Jedi Survivor got delayed about a month for critical polish, they say. This wasn't the only announcement out of that team or out of Respawn. EA's Respawn is delayed on that. They canceled a spin-off Titanfall game, which we know nothing about really, except it wasn't Titanfall 3, which is good because I really want Titanfall 3 to exist at some point in the future. I love those games so much. And then what was the third? Oh, and they are shutting down Apex Legends Mobile after not being on there very long. A couple of years is all I think, or something.
Yeah, that seems a little.
Mobile not working out for those guys.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Do we have a site that tells us how much money mobile
I
games
thought
make?
Apex was performing well. All of these things make it sound like, whether it's true or not, it sounds like it's not.
Yeah, or
here's
enough.
an article from the reputable site that I've never heard of, pushsquare.com, from May 2022, half a year ago, saying Apex Legends is pulling in insane revenue.
Yeah, but
Apex Legends has raked at $2 billion in revenue since it was released approximately.
Yeah, but that's not just mobile; that's everything, right?
Oh, sorry, I'm just kind of joking because I don't know if this is. But I thought there was a website that would actually list revenues. That's where we found the Diablo stuff.
Apex Legends could come back to mobile if it's unified with the main game. Maybe that's the problem. EA's CEO is saying the problem is we had separate ecosystems. He did say, they also shut down Battlefield Mobile. My guess is Call of Duty Mobile is a money monster machine. It makes so much money. It's just disgusting.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
It's a little bit weird. Apex is still doing really well, like overall. I just don't know. Well,
is it?
As far as we know,
because sometimes we assume the games are doing well because they did well.
Yeah.
And they're getting ghosted because of the next. All I hear is Tarkov. Tarkov seems to be the game of the. Seems to be the darling game right now.
Is it? I haven't played that at all. It feels like that's old. Is it new?
Well, it's not new, but it's like been steadily growing in popularity, and like a lot of more casual people who only play the, the big titles, the online stuff. Like you should play Tarkov.
Escape from Tarkov. There it is.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how accurate that is, but in my mind, like it's just esports. We're kind of past esports, but we're still in the online game streaming kind of world, and Escape from Tarkov is big, but I could be wrong about that.
All right, maybe I'll play that. Is that free to play now or something, or does it still cost?
I don't know. I know very little about it. It looks okay. It's just a military shooter. I wasn't too enticed when I saw it. I never really looked into it. Lots of stuff to play and all that.
The videos I've seen is they really focus on the physics of like blowing a dude's leg off and stuff. It's like really like detailed dismemberment and whatnot.
Cause I still have my memories of Apex Legends at launch and knowing it's a great game, but like we browse the news, I barely hear anything ever about that game, or just even on gaming content that I might consume stuff,
Yeah.
It seems like a game other people play, but if everyone thinks it's a game other people play, it's like, who's playing it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, here's what Eurogamer says. A curious mix of realistic FPS action, MMO dynamics, and survival mechanics. It's still in beta, which might be part of the confusion. But people
it's
are
probably one of those forever beta games, but no, it's
Ooh, it's pretty. It's good looking.
No, it's supposed to be pretty intense. Like it's sort of like it's battle royale adjacent, but it's also MMO adjacent, as someone described it to me. That way.
Yeah.
So but if you die, you lose your items. You got to scavenge for more items.
Yeah, there's a survival
there's
element.
like maybe a respawn, and like you can, I think, co-op or work with people. I know precious little about it, other than it sounded interesting. Just didn't rise above other things.
I like the slower tactical feel of it. I prefer that. I like one-shot kill type stuff in military shooters. I don't like run and gun Call of Duty style stuff anymore.
Yeah, I think it has that slow, methodical, clear corners.
Yeah.
Check your periphery, like watch for movement and sounds kind of deal.
Yeah. I mean,
lots of tension with quick violence.
I might try it.
But the reason I just bring that up is like because Apex is like is anyone playing it? And like now they're canceling a Titanfall game, which is the same universe. Like, do they not see? I don't think this universe is working out as well as the press is leading us to believe. I mean, at least compared to, like you said, Call of Duty.
Right.
So.
Well, I would play the shit out of a Titanfall 3 game, though. Oh, man. But this wasn't a full sequel.
It seems
so.
weird. Why would they? I mean, it's been a long time since the last one, right? It must be well.
Yeah,
along
this
in
is
development.
it's super well regarded. It's highly regarded, but it didn't sell super well. It came out sandwiched between Call of Duty and some other popular shooter, and it just kind of got ignored. Not ignored, but didn't get the sales they wanted, which probably means it sold a paltry 2 million copies or some.
Yeah, but
huge number.
it's set the bed for Apex, right? Like, you know.
Oh yeah.
Like you might look at it and be like, yeah, that was a failure, but it resulted in this. Now we have huge brand recognition. Everyone will play Titanfall 3. Who, you know, many people have played Titanfall for $5 at this point, you know, or Titanfall 2, even if they didn't unlock.
Titanfall 2 is the single best FPS campaign I ever played. I stand by that. I'm not saying that flippantly.
Yeah.
It's very good. I wish they would do more.
Seems like they're like, well, we could just release a Call of Duty, I guess.
I got choked up because my mech was in a certain. I don't want to give it away because I want people to experience this themselves. But something bad happened to my mech, and I got choked up because I became close to my mech. My mech and I were close. Yep.
Aww.
We'd full Cleveland steamer at one point. Just kidding. All right, moving on. How about this
How'd you
one?
find each other?
Yeah, I know, right? Finally. No Sony, no Microsoft, no Nintendo, and no Lieutenant Yar. I added that last bit at E3 this year. It's an old Star Trek quote. They're not coming. None of them. And Nintendo's even been the only one that's been there for the last few of them anyway, when they were happening regularly.
Lieutenant spelling.
I know. It's not good at all. But Microsoft and...
I love it, though, because it sounds like a lieutenant is someone who's in charge of the loot.
The loot.
The lieutenant.
Lieutenant.
They live in it. They live in
Lieutenant.
the loot.
Yeah, I spelled that all wrong. But anyway, they're out. They don't want to do it. So...
No way. So no one... They all got directs now.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, they
don't
don't need them. Like, it's just.
I think Nintendo's not doing it because they don't have the games. Honestly, I don't think they have anything lined up that they can really show off at a full event where you got public.
Probably.
Nintendo does still need it. Like, when you think about like what Microsoft and what Sony need, they have their first party titles that they can do their directs for or whatever. They've got, you know, if it's an Activision game, Activision will show it. If it's an EA game, EA will show it. Like, Nintendo's the only people that can show Nintendo games, though.
Yeah, but their directs are fine too. They don't seem to need the E3
and
thing.
but I mean, like, as far as like a space, you know, their
Oh,
games
I
are
see.
only getting played wherever Nintendo goes.
I get it.
But
Yeah.
and even that, you know, like you just said, their directs. I mean, everybody calls these directs after Nintendo. Like,
Yeah.
they really set the bar for showing your stuff off in a video package. So even Nintendo's like,
And they were
we
still
don't need it.
they were still the best selling console of last quarter. Like, they're fine. And I think that they probably just don't have stuff for hands-on this time around. Like, they're not going to have close to finished by June anyway, close to finished versions of Metroid Prime, whatever the new thing's called, 4. They're not going to have probably the Zelda game ready by then. Like,
The
there's
more accurate thing to say is everyone's not going to have made up games ready in time for E3, right? Isn't that the whole, like, Anthem was like basically nothing but the trailer? You know what I mean?
yeah, like a really
You just be asking Nintendo and the developers to do that. Like, it's better if we don't, right?
Yeah. The Advance Wars reboot may get some life, chat. Someone's bringing that up in there. They apparently that's got a SKU number on some sales site.
Oh yeah,
which usually...
that got pushed back because of Ukraine.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I was in a cab today, and the guy was like, we were listening to the radio, and it marked that because I think there's going to be some renewed Russian invasion action, and then the news person was like, a year ago today when this all started, and I was like, it's been a year.
Yeah.
The war's been going on 1 year. Oh my god!
I know.
And Advanced Wars got pushed back because of Ukraine.
Right.
And you were really excited for it. You still can't play the new Advanced Wars
I
a
really
year
was.
later. Like, I mean, just release it. There's like 5 wars going on right now in the world. I mean,
They're close to it. It's just that one was
let
so
the kids have their Advanced Wars.
that
in the
one was
Game
so
Boy.
closely narratively tied to those two countries. I get why they did it, but I think they can do it now. And if that SKU in that online store is correct, that probably means they're about to do it.
I mean,
I'm
maybe
ready
they
for
can
it.
fictionalize the land masses a bit and the names, like call it, Advancedtopia and Nintendopolis or something.
I mean, they already do. They fake all of that. It's just it's a mirror of the conflict. I don't know why they did it, but
Yeah.
They do.
Oh, is it very like political and
kind of.
I don't know that the story is.
But it's also silly.
Yeah.
It's like, hey kid, you want to run this army? Like, it's weird.
Yeah, the story's not like that's always been my issue. I'm like, I'm having so much fun with this game, but then you think about it, you're like, these are children just running around in tanks. And they're just like having a good time. They're just yucking it up. They're like, well, we better defeat that army. And then you're watching tanks explode and people get shot. But in a
Kids are
fun
playing
way.
army.
You're
Or
like,
kids
yeah.
are playing army right now. There's a couple of 5-year-old boys in a neighborhood shooting each other with tanks.
Oh
as we
yeah,
speak.
but that's his point. Is this is being played like that, whereas a real war is a real war, and I don't know why Nintendo's so hung up about it.
Yeah, this is being played like that, but while the visuals are not kids running around with sticks, but like actual explosions and stuff. And you're like, wait,
Yeah.
is this real? Are they playing? What are they doing? I just need like one layer where like for the opening you see people like holding toys, and then I'm like, oh, it's all in the imagination.
I'm just gonna check to see if they have a Twitter. There's an Advanced Force. Oh, it's a fan page.
Yeah.
It's made literally by Nintendo, right?
Oh yeah. Well, it's a dev
Okay.
that they pay to do it, but it's a Nintendo property. Let's see. But the article I read today was right here. The news was rumored Advance Wars plus 1+2 reboot camp. Surprise release could happen next week. It says a store employee says there's evidence the long-awaited release of it might be sooner than expected. What's the store? I don't see the store.
It's Reboot Camp is the one.
Oh, Walmart. A Walmart employee says they are coming in and we think we're going to have them next week. So I don't know.
The developer's Way Forward. Hang on.
Yeah.
Way Forward Twitter.
I doubt they're
Before
saying
the-
anything. Nintendo's clamping on those people.
It just depends on the kind of developers they are. Some of them are communicative. Some of them are just, ad generators. I
Yeah.
guess it looks like it's more that.
John, do you ever play, while he's looking that up, do you ever play any Wild Hearts? The old stuff?
I don't think so.
Okay. This
What's
is
Wild Hearts.
Koei Tecmo thing. It's old Japanese RPG business. Anyway, they got a new one, and I didn't know about it until right this second. Anyway, for a different show, perhaps. Finally, I found this earlier in the week. I'm glad somebody put this in here. It's amazing. There is an AI Seinfeld, basically an AI-generated Seinfeld dialogue, imagery, all of it on Twitch 24/7.
Got
And-
12,000 people watching right now.
It's ridiculous and awesome. And I-
What's it called? Nothing Forever? Is
Nothing
that
Watch
what
Me
it's
Forever. It's the
Yeah.
counts Watch Me Forever.
Okay.
Watch
yeah.
me.
Play some for the
forever.
chat. It's,
Yeah, I'm trying to find it if I can get the damn thing to load. Wow, why won't
oh,
it
do you need
load?
the? Hang on. I'll
Here
put
it
the
is, I
link
found
in
it.
Discord.
No, I found it. Here we go. So here it is, chat. Look at this. Let me turn some volume up. Where is it? It's muted.
Because it's a party. I put them up to celebrate the fact that we all got off work early today.
That's supposed to be Elaine. This
We should
apartment
enjoy
is
it while it
generated in the
lasts.
worst graphic engine I've ever seen, but it's done
I'm
through
with you.
AI apparently.
Let's have some fun.
Yeah, let's play a game of charades.
And they're
Who
just
wants to
making
go
shit up.
first?
And then there's a laugh track occasionally. It's so weird. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I like that they chose Seinfeld as a template. But yeah, I haven't watched anything that's like, oh, this writing is anywhere near.
Oh, not
No,
even close.
it is
No,
bad,
It's
and
all bad.
It ends so suddenly that every time I've watched a little bit
It's
of it,
alright,
it's
I
left me
guess.
with the feeling of
It seems a bit
That's it?
overpriced. Though.
Mm-hmm. It's weird. It's a very weird thing.
I like that it has the laugh track though.
Yeah, I have this.
I did watch a part where he was doing the stand up, and it was actually kind of like Jerry Seinfeld, just didn't have a punchline. Like, what's with cars that don't have bumpers? That's pretty dangerous.
Mm.
yeah. I think that's
What's the
the
deal
problem.
with airplanes? They don't crash into each other.
Yeah.
It's like you got a little bit of it.
Yeah.
What I've seen is just a little too earnest. It's a little too real. They don't have the comedy edge. It's just a lot of like, here's a comedy setup.
Yeah.
Yes, let's talk about it earnestly.
Yep.
Okay, good idea.
Yeah. This is why
The
I have a
end.
lot of things to say about AI, obviously, but this is actually where I like it. I like it to be weird, disjointed, discordant, funky, Like this is my jam. I love this stuff. It'll probably just get better, and then one day I'll hate it. But right now, I love it.
I mean, imagine one day your favorite show might be Breaking Bad 24/7. It's just Walt constantly trying to be a drug dealer.
They should do that next. This channel, which isn't just it's not a Seinfeld channel. When they're done with this, they should do Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad would be good.
I want that right now. Holy shit, I want that. That's a great idea. Like, Bo, you're the man. That's a great idea. I love it.
Breaking Bad and Star Trek.
Yep.
Deep Space Nine.
Nailed it. All right, let's get to some voicemails and emails and things.
That's a good question.
Here's a voicemail about Elden Ring. It's an idea this listener has. Let's see what they have to say.
Hey, this is Kissy Bear calling for the Corleones. Scott, I always know that you say you wish Elden Ring would click for you, and I was kind of in the same boat for a while. I played it when it first came out, and it just wasn't really my thing, but my buddies kept talking about it, so I was like, you know what, I'll give it another try. And I started having more fun with it, but what made it really fun was on the first couple of bosses, I was streaming it with my buddies watching, and we kind of all were relishing in the fact that I was getting really close on the boss, and it was really fun. It felt like they had stakes as well. So I know that you usually play scary games with John watching, so I thought maybe it could be fun if you played Elden Ring with Bo watching, and maybe you can get that same kind of camaraderie going that me and my buddy did. It just made it so much more exciting, super fun, and I think that might be what you need to get over the hump. So yeah, wanted to see what you thought, and love you. Bye.
Bye. That's interesting. I really do enjoy horror games way more when John or Carter or somebody's with me. Way more than I would normally. I still freak out and stuff, but I can't do it alone. In this case, maybe, but you play with somebody like Bo or somebody who's like mastered all things Elden Ring, and they know what I'm up against and know what it takes, and then just, have that experience. That could be fun. It could be all right.
I
It's a
like
big
that
game.
idea. The only problem is Bo would constantly be saying, like, why haven't you beaten this? It's easy.
Oh, though. If you remember Heroes of the Storm, I'm okay. I'm encouraging.
He is. I'm just
trying to
teasing
explain
Bo a little
things.
bit.
Yeah.
I think that's why he thought of me, because I'm more of the like push this button, and this button, and give you that kind of juice.
I think it would be good. I would watch.
I mean,
it,
John's
and I
pretty
think
good
you
for
should
that
do it.
too. But yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You want me to be your Elden coach?
Problem is, I don't own it on Steam or a place where I can easily do the stream the way we would need it to be. So if anyone out there is like, oh, I got this extra key laying around, I never used it, and you want to get rid of your Steam key for Elden Ring, let me know, and we'll use it for science.
I think this would be great. And because Bo, I think he would do a good job of keeping you like, maybe you go to the first boss a little too fast, and it's like he'd probably be like, hey, go explore, go have some fun right now. Don't worry about this.
Sure, but he doesn't.
We got 200 hours.
But I don't want to assume Bo wants to sit and watch me fumble around in that world. That sounds like you'd be bored.
It is a 200-hour game, so it would definitely be trying to set you up with the skills for long-term success.
It's not even a skill thing. It's I just don't have the patience for those Souls likes. It's a patience problem that I have. I need to work on.
Yeah, the combat is slow and methodical. I think I had that problem when I first started too, where you kind of want to be gung ho. Like, a lot of games are like button mash, dodge, quick, and that game's like, if you swing your sword and you miss, you are exposed for a full 5 seconds or whatever, and you're going to get your head stomped in. So you have to think, what's the correct move?
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. But I like your idea there, whatever your name was. I forgot his name already. Hold on.
Hey, this is Kissy Bear.
Kissy Bear. Thanks, man.
Oh, Kissy Bears. He's in the chat all the time.
Yeah, he's always around. I know that name.
Yeah. Supportive viewer from back in our Heroes of the Storm days.
Back in those days.
He's been with us for a long time.
That's right. Here's a text, or an email rather, we got from Rhythm. Rhythm says, hey guys, I actually think I found a tower defense game Scott would like. It's called Sanctum. I swear one of you played this. Bo may have played it. Sanctum. Why does that sound so familiar to me? Well, anyway.
I don't think I'd play a game called Sanctum.
He says you have. We'll get into why you wouldn't
Just
in a
on
second.
principle, no, I wouldn't play a game.
I can't
It
play
sounds like a game I
like
wouldn't
that.
like. Like, yeah, Sanctum. Ugh.
Sounds gross. He says
What
you.
is Sanctum? Oh, I've seen this. Yeah, I didn't play it.
You didn't play it or did?
It has a sequel.
Okay. Yeah, there's a
I feel
Sanctum
like
2.
You played this.
I didn't play it. I've never played Sanctum. I don't think. Anyway, you have a
Hang
build
on.
phase. You also have a character that runs through your build, like that plays like so. It plays like a shooter. He says the towers assist you on your run, but you're always in there killing stuff every wave. It's the most actiony tower defense I've found, and I actually like it a lot. Not sure about its sequel, but I finished the first game. Take care, Rhythm. Reminds me of the Orcs Must Die 1, 2, and 3 description, because those are very actiony, and your towers are doing a lot of work, but you still have to get into the scrum.
Did you like Orcs Must Die?
For a hot minute, I liked Orcs Must Die 2 quite a bit, but then I fell off, and I tried to get back in, and I just went, I don't want to set up all the shit again. I just want to fight. You know? I can't explain it. It's so weird, because part of me likes setting things up, things like Loop Hero. I'm doing that same thing, kind of, but
no,
it's not
you're
quite the
making
same.
map that
You're
exploring.
like playing tower defense against yourself.
Yeah, that's different, right?
Yeah, that's tower offense, and I don't think we have a problem with tower offense.
No. Tower offense is A-okay by me, but tower defense, but Rhythm, I'll take your. Oh, I have this in my Steam library. Maybe I do have it. I just don't remember it.
I mean, Sanctum 1 is an old release.
Is that why I have it? How old? Like 2012,
Like,
13?
Before we knew each other, I think.
Oh, geez. That would've been-
2011.
Really? Yeah, that was before we knew each other.
I think so. Yeah.
We all got to know each other
Coffee
in
Stain
2014.
Studios, good developer.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
sure
they
they're...
make Hunt Down. Well, I guess they're a publisher, not a developer. But Hunt Down, Valheim, and Deep Rock, like
Those are good games.
it's one of the Goat Simulator. You know, it's from a
I like Deep Rock a lot. It's rock and
yeah.
stone. Man.
Oh, it is actually made by Coffee Stain Studios. Okay, so I think Coffee Stain publishes a lot of games, but this is actually made by Coffee Stain.
Oh, okay.
Coffee
Interesting.
Stain. Said that a lot. Coffee Stain.
Coffee Stain. Thanks, Rhythm. Send us emails. The what is this? Talk to the core at gmail.com. That's where you send those. If you want to do voicemails, 801-471-0462. And you can text us there like Dean did, where he says, hey, I love the show. I wanted to strongly recommend the Final Fantasy VI Pixel. These are all for me today. Weird. I didn't mean that to happen. Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster to Scott. It has great pixel art, a beautiful soundtrack, and an engaging story. It has a fast-forward button when battles get a little grindy. It has a quick save for when you want to take a break, but can't find a save point. I could go on, but I'll just say it's very good. Thanks, Dean. Yeah, you're echoing what John has said about that version of the game. I was tempted to start a new run on my Steam Deck via the GBA version of the game, which I quite like the way that one looks. It's also wider screen for if I'm going to play like an original build of the thing. But everyone's just like, nah, just get the Pixel Remaster, play that. So maybe I just will. I don't know. I guess I just will. I do want to play it. I want to play 6. Because 6 seems like it might be my jam.
I think of the Pixel remasters, here's a quick little guide for everybody. If you can only buy 1, get 6. If you can buy 2, get 4 and 6.
What if you
buy
got 3? Yeah.
Get 1, 4, and 6.
Okay.
Yeah, and the 6 has the opera.
Yeah, the
So can you
opera's
go
great.
wrong? Yeah.
Okay.
Then you can add 3, 5, and 2.
Okay.
I think that just covered all of them. That would be the order. That's the order. The official I'm gonna buy Final Fantasy Pixel Remasters is 6, 5, 1, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Or no, I messed that up. 6,
1, 5, 3,
6, 4, 1,
2, 7, 5.
3, 4, 2.
Yep.
5.
That's it.
No, just figure it out.
Sorry,
You'll
I
figure
couldn't
it out.
help myself. I couldn't help myself.
Also, that voice line and text line is the Hams number if anyone's confused. It's 801.
But
801.
where do I send the ham?
Yeah. It's 801-47 hams. 10. No, I'm sorry. I did it wrong. 801-47 10 hams.
10 hams.
Okay. 10 hams. So
10
stupid.
hams.
10 hams.
It's so dumb.
Oh my gosh.
Final.
We gotta do something. Who has 10hams.com or like this needs to be a thing. I don't know what we do with 10 hams, but like
Start a new show.
that
call it
should be
10
our
hams.
development studio. If we make a
Oh, that's
development
great.
studio, it should be called 10 hams.
Yeah, we call it 10 hams games or 10 hams something.
Studios.
10 ham
10.
studios. 10 hams studios. 10 ham studios. Probably just ham. It's more alliterative to say it without the
10
S.
hams. No, hams.
Yeah,
Or
but
else
if you
the
do,
phone number won't work.
Interactive.
yeah, or the
Phone number
won't
doesn't work if you drop the.
Yeah, that should be our chief priority is make sure the phone number works.
Sorry.
Yeah, ham-fisted games, that's pretty good. But that's now we're getting away from the 10, and that's what
Again,
matters.
the phone number is a real
Yeah.
problem, guys.
All right, time for a mashup. Jamie put one together. It's rad, I think. He's told me so. I haven't heard it. But we're going to hear it now, and I think I know what it's about. We've already got voting on this.
Votes here.
Voting right now says, well, the thing is called Gay Denny's, and it says the votes were 23% believe I said it, 18 said Bo, and 59 said John.
Congrats to the majority. I am 100% certain I'm the one who said this, as Gay Denny's is located in Arizona.
Yeah, he goes to Gay Denny's, okay? He's
Yep,
been there.
I've been to Gay Denny's.
Yep.
It's great.
He
It's
is
the
Gay
best
Denny.
of
He
the
is Gay
Denny's.
Denny. I have an announcement to make. I'm Gay Denny's. Sweet.
I just want everybody to know we're all Gay
I am
Denny's
my
here.
gay Denny.
Yeah, we're all our Gay
That's what
Denny's.
Illidan said in World of Warcraft.
That's right. But here it is. Let's play it and see how we get there, because it's the journey, not the destination. Enjoy. Someone in the
right.
chat says, are there gay bars in Utah? Yes, of course there are.
They're gay bars.
There are gay bars
everywhere.
everywhere.
I haven't been to a gay bar, but we have a Gay Denny's here.
I'm sorry. Back that truck up. There's a gay
Yeah.
Denny's, and what makes
There's
it
a gay
gay?
Denny's.
Is there just own?
It's a Denny's that a lot of gay people frequent, enough so that it's known as Gay Denny's. I don't know if I still own it, but I used to own EwoksBlink.com and EwoksDon'tBlink.com.
What? Wait, why? Why?
Oh, this is so good.
I don't even know what to say.
The collector's box does not include
Correct.
a copy of the game.
Yeah.
Which it's called the collector's box, although they haven't done any favors because even internally they have called it a collector's edition.
It's a paradigm shift.
Which
Yeah.
does imply that there's a copy of the game in it. Princess Leia calls Han and Han over the course of Empire Strikes Back. She says it both ways.
Yeah, but that's Turtleneck Lucas's fault.
Turtleneck Lucas.
He's always got turtlenecks on, that guy.
Hey, fellas, what's going on? I got a turtleneck on. Check it out. Anyway.
Fully circumcised.
He corrected them, but they just didn't hear him. He just did it too meekly from the back. Actually,
Okay.
Han Solo.
Now they'll still do that with the boxes themselves if they're limited, but that
Yeah, I'm
it
going to
takes-
say this. I
Yeah.
think that should include a copy of the game.
Yeah, but it's priced also to not include the price. Like it's $50 less than they used to be with the copy
Yeah,
of the
but
game.
also, as a counterpoint,
Yeah.
what if it just included a copy of the game?
Yeah, John's being that guy. What makes it gay?
That it's a safe space for everybody to go and hang out and have Denny's. Like, it's
I mean,
great.
That's wholesome. That's a wholesome response. I was thinking like it has rainbows or something. Like
No, it's
No,
just
it's
a
just a
Denny's,
Denny's.
that a lot of gay people go to, and it's delicious.
I hope Bo pre-drilled some holes in the lake. Oh, in case it freezes over for your lake
Yeah,
runs.
yeah.
Yeah.
look, the benefit of pooing in the lake was that I'm in the water.
Right. Not above it.
It's just like any other hole if it's if it's the ice fishing style. You know.
That would be really funny.
And it would be really bad. My butthole would be super cold. The wind would get it. I get frostbite right in the anus.
I like the boxes too, but I have no problem buying the game separately and buying this separately because it's priced accordingly. It's fine.
What if, Scott? What if it also just came with a copy of the game?
Not everyone's like overtly gay. There could be a gay Denny's in Ottawa, but I just don't know because nobody's signaling the usual stereotypical gay things and stuff. Right?
Sure,
So-
yeah. No, my guess is it's
So
word
are
of
you
mouth.
saying it's like very outwardly like, so I'll have a hamburger? and have some
so Bo's
fries.
going this
Like,
direction.
No,
How is it
it's
like?
not
How is it the gay
stereotype,
Denny's?
it's
Like
just-
I try to
it's
picture it. I feel like I'm usually the most unreasonable one on an episode, so I'd like to thank John for being. The most
yeah, you took the
unreasonable
torch.
person this week.
Yeah.
I know. What an unreasonable take. What if you put a copy of the game in the thing that everybody thinks is a digital deluxe version of a game?
Well, it's called a collector's box. So
Yeah, but they're calling it a collector's edition.
whether I ever play it or not will depend on whether someone wants to watch me scream and pay for it. All right, next up. That sounded bad. That sounded dirty, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Oh.
Go to the video game red light district.
That's right.
It doesn't have to be like a flamboyantly gay place to be gay Denny's. It's just a Denny's.
It's just
Like,
where all a bunch
Call
of gay
it that
folks.
because after the Melrose district gay bars close, everyone heads there. Melrose is the gayborhood.
Wow. I forgot how many times you suggested that they put Diablo 4 in the box. You know?
Yeah, because what if they just did it?
Yeah, what if they did? What if they did?
I'm sort of, but it's funny. I've come around. This has come up in like Twitch chat,
Yeah.
and in our core Discord. You know, people have been remarking on John's comments, but what if it just included the game? Is kind of becoming a meme because of that interaction.
We got a new sticker coming.
And you know what? I'm kind of like, the more I hear it, the less I think it's wrong or trying to defend it. Like it's kind of like, yeah, why wouldn't it just include the game?
Yeah, it's. I
What's
mean,
the big deal?
I would prefer it did. So I've never
Because
been
you were
opposed
also
to
saying
it.
if it had a download code, it would still count.
Yeah, it
as
would
including
count.
the
Yeah,
game.
It would
yeah,
count.
that would include the game. Yeah.
So print out some cardboard in your $100 collector's edition and toss it in the box. You
Put it
cheap
under the
bastards.
candle, one of the 3 goddamn candles that come with your edition, and let people have the game maybe with the thing.
There are 3 candles in there.
I don't know,
3
man. I think
candles.
there's maybe 2.
I didn't know there were
Sorry,
more
I
than
might
one.
have shortchanged a candle.
I thought there were just one candle. I didn't know.
Yeah,
there
we'd
were-
have something new to be
Is there
mad
only
about.
one candle? I don't know how many candles are in there. Get rid of a candle and add the game.
You
Or
know,
just
add
etch it on the candle.
etch it. Yeah, etch the code on the
Etch the
candle.
code on the candle.
Oh, you light it and you can see the code and you can redeem it. Let's
Oh
make
yeah,
code
no, this
redemption
sounds like
fun.
less work for Blizzard. Way less work. Yeah, that sounds like nothing. That'd be super easy. Of course.
Well, or just slap it on cardboard. I mean, take your pick.
Yeah, it's true. Paper.
Yeah.
Put it on
Either
paper.
way, put it in there.
Fair enough. We've come to that conclusion. Let's now come to this conclusion. If you like this show, first of all, don't leave yet, anyone, because at the end of the show, Dead Space remake giveaway. All right. Coming
Yeah,
to you.
somebody lucky is going home with a giant vagina monster.
Yep. And it's a pretty big game. 27 hours. That's a chunk.
For
of
whatever
content.
reason, I thought you were going to say, and it's a pretty big vagina.
Yeah. Big vagina. Big vagina.
I was gearing up for it. I was prepping for it, and then
Yeah.
you swerved, and I was like, oh, it's probably good he didn't say it, but I was ready.
Yeah, you didn't. Boy, I'm glad you did bring it up, though. I really am.
Yeah,
glad.
we dodged it.
But in the meantime, before we do that, I want to thank some patrons. We got a bunch of new folks this week. Another big load of people walked through the turnstiles and chucked some change our way, and I really appreciate it. Drew Lund, Edgin Jaeger, or Jaeger, probably. Peter H., Martin Creamers. Not laughing, just a name.
Sorry,
it's a
Martin.
name.
Nope. I was doing fine till Bo
I'm
laughed.
sorry, Mark. He's going to unsub me.
I was fine too, but I knew Bo was
God.
going to laugh. I just knew it. Anders Arpey, Mike Smith, Stephen Goodwin, Christian Peters, and Mark Gale. These are the great people of the world who joined us this week on the Patreon because they know the value of never having to deal with commercials, getting pre-show and post-show content every week, and other monthly benefits you can only get this way. So get in there and be like them and become patrons of your favorite video game podcast at patreon.com/core show.
We got patron support from Peters and Creamers.
Yeah, Peters and Creamers. That sounds like a place I'd go get an ice cream cone. or
It
something.
actually sounds good.
It does.
I would say that.
But
Or Peter's
Martin
Creamery.
Sounds good.
Peter's Creamery or Peters and Creamers.
Peters and
Peter's
Peters and
Creamers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Peter's Creamers. That sounds all right. I would eat there. I would totally get food there.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what a creamer is in the food world, but I bet it's delicious.
It's probably very good.
Wait, how did this start?
I
What's
don't
going
know.
on?
I don't know either. Well, we're reading names, see, and these names.
Oh, yeah, I know, but Peter's and Creamers does not sound like a place I would want to eat.
Well, are you sure?
I don't know. To each their own.
Could be ice
Are
cream.
we giving we're giving the game away on the show? I hear the music. Aren't
Oh
we?
yeah,
Or
we're
we
leaving. Well, no, we're gonna do it. We're doing it after. These guys, the chat room. You have to hang until we are done.
Oh,
Because you're
so we
winning.
just tell the listeners like, sorry you missed out.
Oh,
What if
yeah,
the
they don't
listeners
get it.
want to know who won?
No, but but
Yeah.
why would they care? They're just gonna hear a random name.
Well, because we set it up. They've been hearing it all show. They need
What
a
a-
payoff for
No,
it.
Why do
I
they
said-
care
It's
who's
like,
Patreon?
it's like that.
No.
Antissa.
No. I said at
And
the
then
top
you
of
were
the
like,
show.
no, we'll say patient off the air.
No.
You
This is
can't
what
do
I
that
did
to people.
at the top of the show and twice in the middle of the show. I said, if you're in the chat room, don't leave because when the show's over today, you might win this code. I never said anybody at home will hear this, but we can do it now.
Podcast listeners, what's the 10 hams number? Call in if you're annoyed that Scott didn't say it on the show.
All right, fine. We're giving it away now. Here's what happens. We're doing it now. Hold on.
Sounds like fine. You're at. He doesn't want another collector's edition, if you ask him.
Yeah, I don't want that. All right, so let me log into the thing that you have to do this with. Now, here's how it works for giveaways. All right, chat room, it's still just you winning this. I'm sure people at home will love to hear a thing they're not even eligible for, but we're going to give it a shot.
No, they
just
want to
want
hear
more
this.
minutes
'Cause
of the
what if
show.
Bo says something funny during this time?
They just want more minutes of the show. It's like, when it's time to go to bed and your child's like 5 more minutes, and you're like, fine, 5 more minutes. That's
Couple
what's
of
happening now.
couple
They
of
aren't going
rules
to be
though.
quality minutes, but they're going to get them. Damn it!
Here are the important rules though. If you enter this twice, you're ineligible. It will disqualify you. Everyone listening in the chat room. So when I tell you to put in this word, this key word, it will help you win. Don't do it twice, or you're screwed. Okay. Doesn't have matter if it's lowercase, uppercase, or combination. If you spell the word right, you are in the running. And you're all going to want to type this as soon as I say it. So here it is. The word is dead. DEAD. Dead.
Great.
It's not 10 hams. Good Lord.
Yeah, because people be like 10 hams. Do I write 10 or TEN?
Yeah.
Most people write 10.
They do. So now we're getting it. Now, if you spell Ted, if you spell dead
Oh, damn.
wrong,
There's a lot of people that want. None of you guys bought Dead
None
Space
of 'em-
Remake?
None of them talking during the show.
It's like
but they
everyone at
all
the show
showed up
didn't
all
buy
of
the
a sudden.
game.
yeah. No, well,
You
maybe
all
they
didn't play
have it.
the game.
They want to give it to their friend or something. Who knows? Which is totally fine. You can, do it.
Yeah,
do with
that
the
is
code that
fine.
you
There's a
want.
lot of 10 hams in the chat too. We should use 10 hams for something because a lot of people typing 10 hams.
That's true. None of these are bots, according to this thing. This has bot protection, so you guys are all real.
Yeah, how does it find out?
I don't know how it does this. I assume it checks to see if these
Somebody
are.
says dead, and it goes, "Are you a real person? You bot."
And
You
it
gotta
goes-
tell me because I asked. You got.
Does it matter if the D is capitalized?
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, as mentioned before, you can do any spelling any capitalization or case.
I spelled dead shit.
Yeah. All right, that's enough time for everybody. Here goes. I'm hitting roll, and now we're gonna have a winner in 3, 2, 1. Our winner is Knucklebones. Knucklebones.
Knucklebone!
Yeah.
Knucklebones.
Been following the channel since 2019. Thank you for that. Knucklebones, send a... oh, there he is right there. I'm going to send you a private message.
I put the code in our Discord if you need it.
Yep, I will. Oops. Oh my gosh, the screen's going so fast. There we go. Knucklebones, I'm sending you a whisper, and in that whisper will include a code. For all of you at home that enjoyed the process of giving stuff away in real time, I'm glad you were here for it. It's fantastic.
Now call the 10 hams line and tell Scott how grateful you are that John made him do it on the show instead of off the air.
Yes. Yeah, do that, even though some of you will do that just to give me cheese. That's what'll happen. They won't because they really believe it. Bo, where's that code so I can give it to these guys?
It's in the Discord.
They're in the
call.
Discord. I'm going to do it right now.
I just throw it in there.
All right, here is the... That seems too long. Is that right?
That's right. Well, that's what I got. I mean, if it's not right,
Redeem
sorry.
it. That's what you get.
Okay, I'm giving you a code that looks too long, but I think it might... Maybe this is a console
I didn't.
code?
I didn't test it out to see if it worked because then I would have redeemed it.
You get what you get, Knucklebones, and you don't throw a fit.
That's right. This is all working out. Knucklebones, it's in your private whisper on Twitch, so you should be all set. Try to paste that into there. If it doesn't work there, try the Epic Store. If it doesn't work there, try what else?
Oh yeah, I don't know what it's on.
It could be I don't think that's an Xbox code. Those are
I'm pretty
3
sure
sets.
it's a.
It could be PlayStation.
Oh no, it's not on Steam. It's an Xbox Series.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. You knew this? You knew this?
I did. I
Well, we
assumed
gotta
it was
correct.
Steam.
Hey, Knucklebones, do you have an Xbox to redeem
Yeah.
this? Because we might be taking our prize back, I guess.
Yeah. Do you have an Xbox Series X? If you don't, or S,
No.
either one.
No, they don't. You just gave somebody hope.
Yeah. Well, not only that, I gave them a code. All right. So does anyone in
All
there
right.
have a Series X? If you do,
Well, we gotta get him one now. Hang on.
Yeah, now we have to buy Knucklebones Game Pass.
Yeah,
Or
we're
not
gonna-
Game
you know
Pass.
what, write
We
Knucklebones'
gotta buy
name down.
Knucklebones Dead
First,
Space.
do the second draw first, and I'll sort out the other code.
Okay.
I'll sort out the code for Knucklebone.
Here's what we're gonna
okay?
do. I'm gonna
Scott,
change the
you
code.
can subtract. You can subtract the cost of Dead Space from my Patreon payout and give it to Knucklebones.
Hold on. All right, fair enough. But here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna change this, and we're gonna change the word to series. If you have a Series S or X, put the word series in here. SERIES, and then we'll do the same process here. So if you have a Series X or a Series S, we're gonna give you the code we gave to Monkey Bones or Monkey Bones. What is it? Knucklebones.
No,
Knucklebones.
Knucklebones.
But Knucklebones, we're gonna get you a Steam copy. All right, that's happening.
Yeah.
So be glad that we're
I'm
nice.
taking care of it. I'm messaging him.
All right, we got a bunch of series. Here goes. I'm going to roll it. Our winner of the new one, of the code that's real, is Sector 7. Sector 7, say something in the chat so that I can click you. Hold on.
I've seen Sector 7 in the chat.
I have 2, and he definitely just put words in, so I know
You
he's here.
better have an Xbox. We're not buying any more of you Dead Space.
That's right. This is it. This is it. Okay, so I'm putting it in now. It's in your whispers. You have the Xbox code. I knew that looked weird. That length of that thing. Knucklebones, we're getting you all hooked up on the other deal. All right. And if is someone talking to Knucklebones like on Discord or something?
Yeah, I send you a private DM on Twitch, Knucklebones. You have to add me as a friend on Steam. Let's go.
Okay. All right. We're good.
Sorry, I don't mean to rush, but this
went great.
all went. This hasn't gone as planned, so I'm just trying to resolve it quickly.
No, it has not. But
Which makes me even happier that this is all in the podcast.
yeah, this is fantastic where we've gone with this. Thank you.
Dang it, as if I screwed that up.
It's all right. Nobody. How would we have known? I mean, you assume.
I was told in an earlier message, and did I bother to read it again later? No.
This is the lesson I learned on Final Fantasy Housing. We're not good at reading, and we got to figure it out.
Yeah, we got to learn how to read.
Scott, for payouts, seeing as it sounds like you have to pay Bo back, I don't mind splitting it a little bit. It'll help him out.
Yeah, we're doing that.
We'll all scratch each other's back.
We're all
a little
coming
bit
together to help out Knuckles.
No, it was my bad though, you guys.
Doesn't
You don't
matter.
have-
We're still
but if we
pitching
split
in.
it 3 ways, then we pay less for it.
Yeah,
It's
we're
like a
paying
discount.
less.
It's
Like
it's on
shoes.
sale.
Yeah, it's like
you guys
Payless.
are good friends because it's my mistake.
No. We got this. 2 guys walk away happy.
And I made a big stink about it being on the show, so that the evidence of our shittiness, if we decide not to honor it, would be like immortalized forever. Like the one benefit of doing it off stream would be like, no one's gonna remember this. If we didn't give him, only Knucklebones will know we didn't get him a copy of his game. But you know,
It's now enshrined forever in the podcast.
Yeah,
Amazing.
everyone's gonna be like, those guys—they're not that nice. I
Yeah.
don't think I like them anymore.
Yeah, no, we're all good.
So,
Don't worry, we're
fine.
happy.
You guys give us great support, so not a big deal.
Yeah, we're happy to do this for you guys, for real. So don't worry about us. Instead of, well, you know what, Grandma, tell us what games we played, but in the fastest way Grandma knows how.
Hey everybody, it's me, Fast Grandma, telling you what games everybody played. They all played Dead Space, which was really good. Scott played Hitman World of Assassins, shit! Demio for the PC, Potion Permit. John played Final Fantasy 14, and Bo is learning how to program so he can fix Final Fantasy 14 for John. That's it. That's what they played.
Perfect. Nicely done. That's it for us. We're out of here. We'll be back next week with more. Come watch us live or check out the podcast later. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
Shit. But better than a broken neck. Or worse.
Thanks, Hammond. Thanks.
That's what he found in the lake.
Yep. That's right.
He jumped into the lake,
Uh-huh.
saw some shit, but better than a broken neck.
That's
All right,
right.
Knucklebones, your game's on the way.
Yep.